you could accept the fact that this city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportions.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff.
Exactly.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years to start with earthquakes, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
You've even seen a referee 2 feet from the play on the sideline staring at the guy trying to catch the ball, staring at where his feet are, and still calls him out.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, absolutely, and showing that he could possibly be the GOAT.
All right, but I gotta say something about the New England Patriots here. The Patriots kept coming out and saying, before the Super Bowl even happened, they kept saying, oh, well, everybody's against us. Bullshit.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the No Show. We are ready to go. We're ready to talk some football. Let's go. We also have a very special guest, Jeremiah Spicer.
Oh, absolutely. He is the talk of the town right now, the XFL, the face of the XFL. A lot of attention about this guy. He had a really troubled childhood, worked through it, though. This is a story about perseverance and hard work and how it pays off. Great story, great interview with him today. We're going to get to that just a little bit, but training camps are starting, Joe. Now I think 18 teams are going to report tomorrow. A lot of talk about just certain people, holdouts. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. Yep. And just showing up, getting geared up, and what we're going to look at some of these guys here on the roster.
And you also have the Patriots signing yet another tight end to the roster, and Lance Kendricks, a guy that played for the Packers, played for the Rams. And now it looks like to me that by signing another tight end to this roster, I think they're coming around the realization that Gronkowski may be, in fact, definitely retired and probably not coming back. There was also a report, can't say definite, Gronk hasn't said it himself. So there was an article that came out and said he was 40%.
Oh, 40%.
40% likely to come back. So
that's still in the balances.
I mean, if you have seen post Gronk after the NFL, he's lost a lot of weight. And I don't know how much strength he's lost, but he looks in good shape, but he's a lot slender than what he once was. That might bring in some other questions that I'm not going to get into, PEDs. But you never know. So, there's that whole deal. You got training camp gearing up. Some teams are starting to make some moves right before training camp hits, before they hit the ground running and get right into those practices and what, get to see who, in fact, is going to be the starters, who's going to be the backups, all that kind of information, plus more roster moves to come. Guarantee you that.
Absolutely. It's warming up. We're just warming up. It's going to be August pretty soon. We're getting excited about it. Also, look to hear about some of our fantasy phenoms we're going to be throwing out there in the next couple of weeks, too. Coming up. So it's going to be very exciting.
Definitely.
Earlier tonight we had the excellent opportunity to talk to Jeremiah Spicer, like we just said, a very hardworking individual. He's been in the Arena League playing. Also, he's a XFL hopeful here. He's going to be drafted by, luckily, one of these teams here. LA was one of them that was interested, and
definitely,
and also worked out with the Chargers. This is where he got really recognition here. He got called up by the Chargers to do a workout with him, like they had promised that they'd give him a chance here to check it out. And Lynn seems to like what he has here. So let's see what happens if he gets a phone call.
The other thing about all this too that you're going to kind of come away from this is it wasn't just the Chargers. It was 5 other NFL teams that are interested in this guy, and rightfully so. We've seen how hard he works. We've seen some of his game tape. It's when you watch him play, he's one of those energetic leaders that you need on the field. And after watching it and come away with your own opinions on him, he's a great dude. He loves the game, and he's worked tremendously hard to get where he is. And you're going to find out something that we didn't know before we got into this interview about just, in fact, how did he get noticed?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So here's let's just take a look at how that interview went. Joining us on the phone, we have NFL prospect and future XFL player Jeremiah Spicer. Thanks for joining us, Jeremiah. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good.
All right.
Hey, Jeremiah, this is Joe for Football on the Know. Just had a real quick question. I know this is probably going to be the toughest question you've ever answered, but what do you like to do in your free time? Let's just get that out of the way.
I like to look at film. I like to train. I like to, train kids. I like to get in the community and, do different things like that.
Excellent. Yeah, I know. Again, we've been studying you, watching your film and different interviews, and watching your video. We just shared your video too as well. I also saw that you this is your first annual Spice It Up Skills Camp. Tell us about that and what that's about.
Yeah, man, it's basically giving back to the community, man, and basically, turning young men into, having to look at life a little bit different, and and kind of like getting them ready for college, and and getting them focused on that type of stuff like that. Getting their focus straight, and it's a leadership program with the Oath Speed and Agility. They helped out. Trained the Rainy Valley Bears as a youth football team, and trained the Orange Vista High School too, also. So. It's I'm just in the community sharing my story and reaching out to guys and actually getting guys coming in. Some guys got similar stories. Brought up in single parent homes, or just with a father, or just with a mother. Just different stories. So it's working.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's cool. It's good to go ahead. Yeah,
it was a 3-day camp. It was a 3-day camp, and it was an 8-hour camp.
So it's first annual. So you're going to keep trying to do this every year and get more people involved, and
yeah,
excellent.
We're going to try to get business.
Excellent. That's awesome. And teach them the skills early too, so then maybe there'd be potentially more guys like children in your situation learning the skills they need now, and possibly have the similar type of story, being able to play in the XFL or NFL and make it on college teams too as well. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah, because I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't get that type of stuff growing up. That type of training. From guys that made it to the next level, or guys that even got potential to make it to the next level. So I had to learn on my own. So
yeah, definitely, absolutely.
They kind of got it made. They should take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Now, again, I said that I've read your interviews. Joe and I have looked at the different interviews you had. We have the XFL film out there that we shared as well. Some people don't always exactly check out videos here and there, or maybe they haven't heard of you yet now, and the obstacles you faced as a child in your childhood. Can you tell us just a little bit what it was like for you growing up here, so people can understand what we're working through?
Well, it was rough. I grew up in the system. I had social workers since I was 2 years old. I got took away from my mom because she was doing drugs. Had me downtown LA Skid Row with her, and ended up going with my grandmother. Ended up getting took from my grandmother. Ended up going to foster home and group homes, and was homeless a lot of times, man. Sleeping in my car, sleeping in a lot of people's houses and stuff like that.
Yep.
Just real life situation.
Yeah, I hear you. And now, when times got tough, was there someone that you leaned on for guidance and help?
I always talk to my elders for knowledge, get knowledge from people, and I like to observe people. So, I try not to copy what they did. So I kind of learn off of people as I go.
Now, football, has that always been a part of your life, like since you were a child, or did you just as you were growing up as a teenager, you found it as an escape, or just you started to get into it? You were physically good at it, or?
Well, I found it as an escape, but I was good at it. I was good at it already. I already had potential to be great. I was already good at football in middle school. I already played all sports though. I used to swim.
Oh wow!
And so. I
Excellent.
swim before I play football.
Excellent.
I wrestled.
Oh, wow.
track.
Wow,
you go.
man, you're a big guy to be wrestling. Holy moly. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine doing that.
I don't want him taking me down.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we know you went to Riverside City College and played there, but you also played in the Arena League. And as a rookie, you played for the Cape for Fear, and you amassed 147 tackles as a rookie, which made you the All-Star team as a first-team All-League player. I mean, that was pretty amazing. And then you started to get noticed by some teams here, and so a few of them here were just the Los Angeles Rams, the Buccaneers, the Vikings, the Cleveland Browns, and now the Chargers. Now, so tell us about that.
Yeah, I had contact with other teams. I'm still talking to teams, and I'm still a free agent. You know, I'm on a linebacker list for the Chargers right now. I'm waiting on the call from them, and I'm in the draft for the XFL. So, and I'm still talking to the Cleveland Browns right now. You know, and I'm about to go. Supposed to be going back up here to this Rams training camp. You know, I'm about to go talk to the coach. You know, I'm still a free agent, so I'm still networking, moving around. You know, I don't like staying idle. You know, I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get a contract. Whoever signed me first, man, that's when I'll be happy.
Absolutely,
definitely. And come on, running off of that same question, kind of. What was the very first NFL team to call you, and what was that phone call exactly like?
Well, the first NFL team, they didn't call me. I went to them.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Excellent. Cool. So what was that experience like then?
I put my film on DVDs. And,
okay.
And I actually took them up there to the Rams facility. That's when the Rams first came, when they came back to from St. Louis to L.A. And, you know, there was an Oxnard, didn't have no home. So that's like 2 hours from me where I'm at. And that's before that was at University of Irvine. And I took my film up there, you know, and you know, passed my film out on DVDs, and met with Jeff Fisher. You know, he told me he wasn't there, was having no open tryouts today. You know, and you know, I just continued to pass my film out even more. You know, talk to the news people that was there. You know, told them my story and everything, got their contact information, and you know, and talked to Leroy Glover.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, you know, I gave him my film in the back at training camp. You know, it wasn't open to the public, but I went to the back. You know, the dude behind me, they kicked him off the premises. But, yeah, so it was just, you know, I was just hungry, you know. It was just a hungry moment.
Yeah, so that's it.
So that was my first time, you know. And from there, I just kept coming back. I went back like 3 times. You know, and yeah, I went back like 3 times, man, and you know, so I'm about to go back again.
You talk about hard work, and you know that's something that we didn't know about you. Is that you know your first step was like you had to work hard just to get your name into the NFL's minds, all these NFL teams. Take me through what was the process like for you? So like step by step, what did you have to go through from like you got a phone call from someone after you worked hard and tried to get your name out there? What happened after all that? Like, how did a certain member of the team call you to bring you in and set you up, something like that?
Well, the Cleveland Browns was the first NFL team that I actually tried out for.
Okay.
You know, and so you know, it was. I just, you know, it was. I don't know how to explain it. The Chargers,
did you feel like
with the Cleveland Browns? It was through an agent, so you know the agent would let me know all the information. You know, and where to go, and that's how I got there. You know, so.
So when you were there, did you get this feeling that like maybe this is finally my dream is starting here? Like I can do this, and feels like comfortable to me. This feels like home.
It was in Texas workout with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, but when you started to get on the field there and play, and you thought that maybe all the hard work now, this is starting to pay off. Now maybe potentially the dream could potentially come true here.
It was. I was kind of nervous. I was a little bit nervous. I was more like I could do this, you know, and that was kind of like what I was feeling like. I was feeling like I could do this, and can't nothing stop me. That's how I was feeling. But I was fresh off arena season, you know, so you know.
Well, definitely.
I was
It's playing hard. That's picking
my
up.
workout was going on.
Yeah, we have an arena team in Albany here, the Albany Empire, and they're playing really well, and everybody's hyped about arena football right now. We're all glad it's coming back.
Finally got football in the area.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's all about what you make it, man. People always ask about my team, how is my team, and all this other stuff. It's all about what you do when you get there, you know, and your plan when you get there. You gotta have a plan when you get there. You can't just be going there for no reason, you know.
Yeah. So now we got a little bit a taste of, you know, what kind of steps you had to go through. You put your name out there. You sent out DVD and game film and all that kind of thing.
I emailed the gang people, man. I even went to the Arizona Cardinals facility, passed out my film there. You know, went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facility all the way in Tampa Bay. You know,
Excellent.
The head coach and the defensive line coach. It went good for an hour. You know, they told me, you know, it's 3,000 other great athletes just like you. They said, what makes you different? You know, so that's when I kind of start like really going hard, like with my everything, like, you know, trying to separate myself and doing things as other people, you know, didn't do. You know, and when I got first team all league and I led the whole league in tackles, you know, that's what really opened the door for me.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Now, after working with NFL teams, is there something that you learned, maybe that they told you in training possibly, that helped improve your play?
You said repeat that one time?
Is there something that you learned, maybe like working out with the Browns or the Chargers, a different technique possibly, or something that helped your play, overall play, like something you put in your workouts now?
You know, you always learn. Everything's always a learning experience, you know. And I just say it was a hell of a learning experience, you know. And, you know, I made the linebackers list, so I didn't do too bad, you know. So I couldn't have did too bad, you know. If I did, you know. So.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremiah, it's Joe again. I just wanted to say, you know, it's truly inspiring, your story and everything that you've had to go through, and now you've battled your way to this point. But I want to know, if I'm an NFL or XFL team looking at you, and I decided that, you know, I want this kid on my roster, I want him bad, what kind of a player am I getting in Jeremiah Spicer?
Man, I'm a team player first, you know. I'm a team player. You know, I bring a lot of energy to the team, you know, energy that can help win games, you know. In the locker room, my coach from Spear even said it too. You know, he said my energy is pretty contagious, you know. I'm not really a loud talker, but I make plays and, you know, I share my energy with my teammates, you know. And,
yeah, so you go by, you show on the field as an example, you know, so you're a leader in that aspect.
When I show it though. I show it like I'm like, man, I consider myself an old school football player. I like to play old school. You know, I like to bring the hat.
Excellent,
I like to run to the ball every play.
Yeah, there's not enough of them. There's not enough of those guys in the NFL or XFL. So that'll be exciting to see. You know, we've both watched some of your game film on you, and you know, my opinion at least. I don't know, Jim might agree with me, but I really like to see you at defensive end. But do you prefer one over the other? Do you prefer linebacker or defensive end, in your opinion?
I prefer linebacker because, like, arena linebacker is a little bit different than outside linebacker.
Right.
Like, I can play both. I like to play both, really. I like to put my hand in the dirt, and I like to play linebacker. I like to catch interceptions. I like to, you know, stop the run.
Yeah, so you like to be involved in, like, every play, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right, do you have, now that, you know, we know that the XFL draft is coming up, and just curious, like, do you have any input or any inside track? Do you have any idea what team or teams are interested in obtaining your services?
I don't know, man. I don't know anything right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you get?
I know people showing love.
Yeah. What XFL teams might I ask were that you got a sense that they were interested in maybe obtaining you?
Probably LA and St. Louis.
Okay.
I heard something about Seattle. You know, but,
all right, there you go. A few teams right there.
Sweet, excellent. Now we're just gonna have a little fun here for the last couple of questions here, and then we'll let you go. the big talk with all the NFL players now, they're all upset about their Madden ratings and all this stuff here and all this things. Now, I'm going to ask you, just all for fun and games here, if you were in Madden now, what would your highest skill be, and what would it be rated?
Man, I got a lot of high skills, man.
Hey, put them all out.
I got a lot of high skills. Like, everything I do, I try to do it to the fullest. So,
right.
Absolutely.
I'm not like everybody else, man. I got a high motor, and I always run to the ball. No matter if I'm tired, So.
Absolutely.
But I like my awareness, my instincts. I have very great instincts. And that my instincts and my aggressiveness kind of like helps me a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of like know what things are before they are. I can call a play out before the play's hike. I can,
play recognition. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what?
I got.
So what would that? Looking on the whole Madden then thing too. Now what's your lowest? Do you think possibly? And like something part of your game that maybe you need to improve, that you see you need to improve, that you want to.
I don't know, man. I don't like to talk about myself like that, man.
I know you like to think positive, but I know you're saying you're always trying to work hard.
I can't give people my weaknesses.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
Then I guess we'll just leave it. You always try and do your best. You're always working harder.
Definitely.
I see the hard work you're putting in through the videos, through the film. We're watching it all. The nation, I think, is watching you here, man. We're all rooting for you here.
Absolutely, 100%.
Football on the Know. Thank you very much for speaking with us and sharing your story. We wish you the best, and we're following your career closely. And we'll stay in touch. And maybe next time you'll be on an NFL roster and you'll be talking to us. How about that?
Yes, sir, man.
Excellent. Jeremiah Spicer.
One step at a time.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, and talk to you later.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
All right. There it is. Jeremiah Spicer, Joe.
There it is, everybody.
Oh, man. It was great talking to that guy. Again, we learned a little bit more, and that's somebody that, again,
Definitely,
is out there
100%.
working hard. Didn't go to a big D1 team, wasn't, noticed right away by scouts, here going to like Michigan
And had to
or
get himself
Ohio
noticed.
State.
He had to take it upon himself to actually get his name out there for anybody to give him a shot. And we heard right from Jeremiah that teams question him, but like, well, why? There's 3,000 of you guys out there right now currently. What makes you special? What makes you different than those other guys that all want a shot?
Absolutely. He even said it right in the interview. He's like, maybe I'll go to Cleveland again and then send them my tapes again or something, have them look at this. So, guys getting a lot of recognition right now out there, face of the XFL. Hopefully he can light it up there in that league at least, and if he's still looking for the phone call from Anthony Lynn over there for the Chargers. So that would be stupendous if he gets that there. And we didn't talk about it a little bit during the interview.
I'm sorry to cut you off right now, but also the other nice caveat of all that is that it wasn't just one team that got interested in him. It kind of spreads like wildfire in a sense. One team's, who are they checking out? They're checking out this guy with what? Let's look at some game film. And all of a sudden, it was 5. It came to be 5 teams in total, and he did workouts with not just once with all 5 teams, but he did it twice with all 5 teams. So that just goes to show you that there is a lot of interest in this kid, and he can make an impact at some point. Who knows? And it could be, even if it is just special teams. You know what I mean? Because that kind of goes overlooked. Finding some good special team players. Not to say that I'm not trying to keep him in in a narrow funnel here, but if you somehow, some way, if this kid can just get onto a roster, even if it's special teams at first, then can blossom and develop as a player with that professional coaching and just, who knows? We never know. We can't wait. We're in his corner right now. We're rooting for him, and it's hard not to root for a guy like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't talk about it so much with the interview because we wanted to move on and really talk about football and his part of the game. But, again, coming from the past that he did, living on Skid Row in L.A. and where he could have his life could have went a totally opposite way with what he was dealt.
Easily, too.
And for him to be where he's at with this position, It's wonderful. It's a great story. I hope you guys check out more about him, too. Search him on Google. Look at him on Twitter, too. He's at KingStruck24 on Twitter. Look him up there. Support this guy, and hopefully he can move forward in his career. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. First of all, next up, we're going to move on to our fact of the day. It's our In the Know fact of the day, Joe. I got a good one for us here.
Let's hear it, then.
All right, here we go. Let's do it. All right, in 1970, Marvin
That's a
Gaye
long
tried
time
out
ago.
for the Detroit Lions. Did you know that? Check that out. Talk about somebody going there trying to
Yeah,
work hard to
the
try
singer.
out for a team here.
For all you young ones out there, you
yeah.
might not even know who Marvin Gaye is.
Exactly.
He became a phenomenal singer, like funkadelic music. almost.
Motown, absolutely. Yeah. So Marvin Gaye, here we go. Tried out for the Lions. Gaye bulked up nearly 30 pounds and trained with future Hall of Fame tight end Charlie Sanders while preparing for his tryout. He didn't make the cut, but he remained close to several of the players here. Check this out.
Okay.
Who sang background vocals on his 1971 hit, What's Going On? Can you
I never
believe
knew that.
I never knew that, too. So some of the background vocals on that now are former players that he
that's
became
crazy.
friends with.
It just
I
goes
mean,
to show you that there's not just football talent in the NFL. There could be some singers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty crazy. So that's our In the Know fact of the day, Joe. Wow.
That was excellent.
Yeah. You like
That was a
Man,
great one.
Marvin
I
Gaye
like
moved
that.
in there, so that's
Interesting.
awesome. Yeah. So here we're talking about holdouts here. This
Holdouts.
is what's all over the news again. We talked about it a little bit last week with some Melvin Gordon. He's the big, I guess, one that's saying that he is officially holding out per Adam Schefter and some other
So
guys
far,
out there
yep.
throwing it out there. So. The thing is that you want to debate with Melvin Gordon here. Like this year, he's out to make the most he's made so far on his contract was $5.5 million.
Yep, last year of his deal.
And the thing is, that's a question here. Yes, he looks like one of the most explosive players now coming out on his own.
Very
and we
explosive.
predicted this year he's going to have another big year. But now again, when you look at it, when you're talking about big money, like he wants to get paid. Well, you haven't been on exactly having a full season because we even saw what he did with the bit that he was on the field, and it looks
Right.
stupendous. And we say, now give him a whole season.
Right.
Well, have we?
Can't
We
wait to
only
see
saw
it.
one full season. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's the question you have with this. So what's happening with the Todd Gurley right now? Everybody's wondering, is his carries going to get cut back after he got that blockbuster deal? What's that going to look like? Now are the team's going to be skittish on giving running backs these deals? And so far, it's thrown out there that the Chargers and him are not seeing eye to eye at all, and they're at a standstill.
Right, and you have to be careful if you're an organization with giving these big-time contracts to not just running backs. I mean across the board. We start to seeing the quarterback position being paid more and more and more. It's getting to the point where 30% of the contract for a newly signed quarterback now is your cap. That's a huge percentage to be able to take that on, and you can't distribute the money well enough across the board to improve your roster up and down it. And now we're seeing the running back position now with Melvin Gordon. Now, here's a guy, like you were mentioning before, he does get banged up year to year. He hasn't had that full-fledged healthy season and the production to go with it. We've seen him early on in his career. He was banged up a little bit there too, but he wasn't showing on the field what the Chargers drafted him to be. Now he's developed into that running back. We're like, wow, this guy is a difference maker. He does everything well. He catches out of the backfield. He makes people miss. He's very fast. He's elusive. All that going together. Now that you have that player that you drafted, he's still having a hard time staying on the field 100% through the season and showing what else he can do, how much better he can make this offense from week 1 to week 17. So now begs the question, how much is he worth? Is he worth highest paid running back in the league? Because right now that's held by Todd Gurley. He's getting paid on average of $14.5 million a year. And Le'Veon Bell tried to do the whole holding out thing for 2 straight years. He tried to create some heavy interest in either trading for his services or being able to get that deal by the time he hit free agency. And what did he get? He got less than what the Steelers offered with their last offer. The Steelers offered him about 12 point, I think it was like 12.2 or something like that million per year. Well, yeah, it wasn't as much as Todd Gurley right now. However, what did he end up with? He ended up with less than 12 million on average per year. It's about 9, and didn't get what he was looking for. He held out those 2 years, and it didn't pay off for him in the end. Now Melvin Gordon's in this position, saying, I'm going to hold out. I'm going to hold out. I deserve more than Todd Gurley. I make way more of a difference to my team, so I think I should be paid higher than 14.5. Well, I'm sorry. At this point, for that position, I mean, we've seen for years now that position be devalued by various organizations and basically the whole league. I understand he's a difference maker for your team. Unless he's absolutely top, elite, everybody in unanimous decision on saying, well, it's Melvin Gordon's the best running back in the league. That's the only exception I could see paying him more than $14.5 million, which I don't see him as being. He's often injured, often banged up. He will miss a game or two every season, maybe more. And is that really what you're paying for? A guy that does get banged up from time to time, who's not going to be on the field 100% of the time? I'm sorry. He is a difference maker for the Chargers. But I don't see him worth over $14.5 million. I don't see him getting a contract for $15 million per year. Just don't see it. I don't think it makes financial sense for the team, and I don't think it makes any sense any sense for the team as far as being able to improve the roster. You got to have more money to improve the roster because they still got to work on their offensive line. They still got to work on a few other positions. However, they're right there on the cusp. Now, why do you want to rock the boat, Melvin? Why do you want to try to get more money and prevent that from happening?
Who knows? Oh, we have somebody at the door. Hey, it's Cody Cook is in the house, Joe.
What's going on, Cody?
Know-it-alls.
Cody is coming in early.
He is. He's a former MVP of the show. And here he is. Hey, guys, depending on what they could get, if I'm the Chargers, I'd potentially look at to either call his bluff or just trade him and let Eckler get his shot. Needs a full healthy season before I'd pay him, to be honest. Absolutely. Now, I was going to bring up this a little bit, too. Yeah, right. You have Austin Eckler there, too. And when Melvin Gordon was injured, they were 4-0, when he was out. So, and they did it with Austin Eckler and younger guys like that to dish the ball here on the passing game along with the running game. Just to split it up a little bit here. So that's how the Los Angeles Chargers were able to get it through and work this offense. And I don't know. Who knows? I mean, trade him. I don't know what you're going to be getting for him again, because this is what you're looking at: a guy who hasn't stayed healthy and who's looking for money now. So if you trade him, so now if I'm a team looking at him, all right. So now you're telling me I have to give up something and pay him the big contract? Like, I don't think so. We're going to wait till you drop him or cut him then or something like that if you're going to do that. And if I'm the Chargers, I don't think I'm going to just release him. You know what I mean? So
with the guy,
you got to work out this deal here. See either way. Yeah. So I mean, it's tough. He's asking a little too much now, but maybe he'll come down to earth there. He's got to, because you know what? He can't be that Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell had already been established for a while. He's already made his money. Like we just said, he's going to be making the most out of his career so far this season at $5 million. All the rest, he got his bonuses, but he was only making a couple $100,000 each year. Finally made $1 million, I think, last year, the year before that. But this is his big bulk, and now he's going to be getting the difference too with Le'Veon Bell is he was a free agent here. I'm going to be having to sign a franchise tag. Okay. Right. So that's different. This guy's right under contract, so he's going to be getting fined. Not only is he not getting game checks, he's going to be fined on top of that.
Only if he misses training camp days.
Yes, absolutely, which he said he's willing to do right now.
We'll see.
So that's the difference with this guy.
That's where it hurts them is when you're making these weekly checks that they make. It's kind of hard to turn down. I'm sorry. I don't think this is a wise decision. And I've never really agreed with the whole holding out process. I see we've seen it way too many times all throughout the history of the NFL. Especially the modern day eras where it's kind of really happened. But for Melvin Gordon to hold out right now, I understand you're a big deal with the Chargers. I understand that they do rely heavily upon you. And given the attributes that you show on the field, yes, you deserve to get a little bit of a raise. However, I don't see it anywhere close to top-tier running back money. because of his inconsistency to stay healthy. And quite honestly, the devalued position is running back right now. So I'm looking to see if the Chargers, listen, they're willing to work with him. No team on this planet, if they had the talented running back like Melvin Gordon, they're not going to let him walk out the door. They're going to try to do everything possible to work out a deal in reasonable terms where he gets a raise, but it still fits what the team is willing to give up. As far as trade, I mean, no one's going to be talking trade. Melvin Gordon's too valuable to this team. The team does not want to give up on him right now, and he's a young guy still, so he's still in his prime playing career. Definitely, I don't see that happening at all. In the end, a deal will get worked out. It's just starting that conversation, with his agent, with the GM, all sitting in the room. Let's get this thing hashed out. And who knows? Right before day one of the training camp, it could happen. It's happened many times before. Didn't happen for Bell and his whole situation, but again, I think they have too good of a relationship on both sides for it to be damaged and then say, oh, well, forget it. We got to move on. So I do strongly believe this deal or whatever will get worked out, but holding out, I don't see it as an answer for any player. I think it kind of tarnishes that relationship a little bit when players do go forward with that.
Absolutely. When I think more he needs to, again, this season needs to do it on top, one season on top of another and stay healthy and kind of still improve it in a sense. Yeah. We're talking about a former first rounder here. Again, for a first round pick, right now you got to be able to know, like when Saquon Barkley is picked, we know what he is now pretty much. He performed, bam, we got what we got with him. You know what I'm saying? Melvin Gordon, you had an inkling, but again, health, stay healthy. Have a full season, and that would help us out here. And also, along with it, is the fact that, if he does hold out here, injuries again. What happens? You hold out, you're not. So he needs to continue to keep working out, stay healthy, keep his body in shape. So when he finally does be able to take those hits again, now he doesn't bang himself up again trying to get that contract in. You know what I'm saying? For a guy that's been, questionable on injuries, this is not the right thing to do. No. And, another dude who had said he wanted another contract but did show up was Jalen Ramsey. He showed up in style at training camp with the Brinks truck, and jumping out with an announcer, everything else here. But at least a guy, one of the most mouthy guys you thought that maybe would hold out, he shows up at least, here. So, I mean, that's funny.
I think that's the right decision. Yeah, he kind of said, you know what? If you're not going to offer me as much money as I'm looking for, then maybe I won't show up. He kind of threatened that idea, but he still showed up nonetheless. I mean, in tremendous fashion. But, I mean, if you need – I'm sorry, but if you need a hype man to kind of talk your team into maybe starting negotiations and starting at the level that you're looking for, I'm sorry. I think that's the wrong decision. If he just came in like normal, just like everybody else, go ahead and speak up and tell the franchise what you're looking for. But in the end, behind closed doors, work with your agent, work with this team, and you can come to a realization of where requirements are met. Yes,
someone's at the door. There it is. It's Mike Tackett. Mike Tackett's in the house, Joe. Sorry to interrupt you, but here he goes. He's jumping in here with knowledge like he does. Here we go. Happy hump day, fellas. Happy hump day. Mike, here's today's fun fact. Here we go. He's throwing it in the facts. Melvin Gordon, 76 carries, 885 yards, 5.2 average per carry. Austin Eckler, 106 carries, 554 yards, 5.1 per average. Now, see, look at that. On a 70 less carries, trending roughly the same.
Yes.
And again, and a lot
same production.
Cheaper, I'm sure. Again, and he just says here that this again validates my point that running backs in the league are more plug and play more than ever here.
100%. We completely agree with that idea and that opinion, and that's where we're going with this. And here's the thing that fans and outside media need to understand this too, is that when you nitpick, oh, well, I'm on the player side, I'm on the team side and everything, you got to realize that it's a team game. It's not just one individual that makes the whole entire team. You know, Le'Veon Bell tried to pull that and say, hey, well, I do so much for this franchise, for the Steelers, that, you know, I'm a receiver, I'm a running back, I deserve to be paid, you know, what I'm thinking that I deserve. But you're not the whole team. There is a team involved. It's the best team game out there in the world. I mean, it takes everybody. In order to win, it takes everybody. The Patriots have shown that over and over. One of the most successful organizations of our time in the modern era. They do it right. They play as a team. They don't need the best talented player to get them over the hump or anything like that. They just find the right guys to make the team
scheme matters
go.
too. Get scheme players. If you're in on a team that runs a high, fast-paced, mix it up like offense like Sean McVay, or even like Matt Nagy. You're mixing around with wide receivers here and there, running back still a part of it, but you're not like, say, what the Jaguars needed to be, ground and pound a little bit with the running back and trying to have that be your focal point.
Yeah, and that's because they didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. I know, I hear you there, but I mean, just saying, there's certain types. Rex Ryan liked to be a ground and pound, which keep running the ball, and then make smart passes here and there, and that's where you might have a better value as a running back. Say that's where you're at. That's what you needed to do. That's where I'd say Adrian Peterson needed to do for the Redskins last year. He needed to be that solid guy for him, because if they didn't have him, they didn't have much.
They had nobody behind
with the wide receivers right now.
They got injured so badly in the backfield that it was only up to AP last season.
So I mean, it all depends on what I think scheme too as well. Like you said, the Patriots do it the best, throw guys in there, but again, they seem to find those nice guys like Sony Michel, having him out there too. I mean, rich get richer sometimes with those guys, and they just get it done. Here we go, Mike. Cody Cook. Here it is. The James Conner situation last season showed that as well. When he got hurt last season, Samuels didn't miss a beat and dominated just as much as Conner had been. That shows you, though, a little bit, though, too, a little bit plug and play, but also that these guys, when they're thrown into position, they're not true starters yet right now. They're not used to doing it every single down here and there. And James Conner was getting a little tired.
He got tested.
A little worn down.
Definitely got
tested.
tested.
So then they needed the guys to go in there and mix it up. And what it happened, much like the Patriots too. Mix it up. This guy gets it. This guy gets it. Keeps everybody fresh. And you're at the advantage. But, yeah, I mean, they got it done. Sure, we'll see how they do it this season. See if they can still be successful in that way. But also they didn't make the playoffs last year, though, either, the Steelers. So
No.
So you got to look at it that way, too. Oh, there it is. Oh, man, someone knocking down the door. Here we go. Oh, man, here we go. It's Hollywood Gaming in the house now. 2 weeks in a row. MVP of the show, Hollywood Gaming is out in the house. Yo, AP is good, though. He had like 45-yard touchdown run on the Giants. And speaking of holdouts, what's the word about Melvin Gordon?
Yeah, we were just got all through that.
Yo, Joe, you want to cover it up here again?
I mean, here's the thing. With Melvin Gordon, me and Jim feel the same way. Melvin Gordon, he hasn't been the healthiest type of back. He's not the whole team. I mean, this is where position by position, these players need to realize that, yeah, you may be a major part of the offense or defense or whatnot, but you're not the whole team. So I get it. Melvin Gordon does deserve a raise. Absolutely. He's been that impactful with this offense. Phillip Rivers obviously really loves him. And to go forward, you need a good back. So as much as he does need a raise, I don't think it's got to come anywhere near top-tier type of money. He's nowhere near the $14.5 million that Todd Gurley makes. I think that's way too much. But, I mean, quite simply, he deserves to get a raise. But I think in the end, it's all going to work out. Everyone needs to calm down. I know there was speculation out there like, oh, man, what's going to happen? No, they're going to trade him. They're going to trade him. What team are they going to? Wait, the Packers. The Packers could use that guy. The Packers got Melvin Gordon. Oh, my God, this offense is going to take him. Relax. These type of things with this type of a star on the Chargers, they're not just going to trade him away. They're not going to just let him walk away. They have a good relationship. There's nothing been tarnished right here. Yes, he has announced I'm going to hold out. He's threatened that idea. We haven't seen it yet, but when training camp starts, let's see who shows up. And I think even if he does, come through and say he doesn't show up, I still think that a deal will get done within a week or two after training camp starts. And everything will be forgotten after that point. So I do agree with him getting a raise. I don't see it being top-tier type of money because he hasn't been the healthiest back. So all in all, Charger fans, don't worry about it. NFL fans, calm the excitement a little bit of possibly obtaining him. Don't see him going anywhere. He's going to be a Charger.
Yeah, because, again, we just covered it. We talked about it. Is that, again, if I'm a team, if we're already talking about, he would give us a full healthy season, or maybe multiple in a row here.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about money here. Another team isn't going to say, all right, well, then I'll trade you for him. I'll give you something, but then he still wants that contract, and I'm going to still shell out the money to pay him. That makes no sense for me to hand that out.
It would make sense if you're a team low on the totem pole, looking to make an impact, looking to create some kind of buzz or a big boost for that side of the ball. And if you have a large amount of cap space, why not do it? But they're not going to give him away for free. It's going to cost, kind of like high, high draft picks and that sort of thing. I don't think it'll be a first rounder. It could involve it, but I could see it being more because of the injury problems and that sort of thing. And he's got to fit into a certain team. He can't just go to anybody. He's not a ground and pound type of guy. He can run between the tackles, but he's really more adequate on the outside for his game. But I could see like a second round and multiple picks and that sort of thing. If you were to give up your first round pick, which is really critical in drafts nowadays, that first round draft pick is so valuable to teams. It's like you never want to give it away, So, and we've seen how that works out a lot now, but it works out for the other team that gets those picks instead of the team that dished them away. So, yeah, all in all, we'll have to wait and see how everything shakes down.
He agrees with us here again. He goes, he thinks it's his big talk about holding out, and at the end of the day, he thinks that he likes the team and a deal will get done. And that's
money
how
talks.
this works. And
money talks.
The thing is, too, with him, that's all he kind of has to do. He's like to get any kind of leverage. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know. I guess I'm holding out then because what else does he have for leverage? So that's all he kind of has. But again, once he starts getting fined, if he wants to sit out, then it's money on your pocket anyways. And are you willing? You can't go the whole way. It's different than what Le'Veon Bell is doing, even though a lot of people want to try and put it in that same situation. It's nothing like that, so it's totally different. But, Joe, who else we got on the docket now that's looking for a bigger contract, and just trying to work deals out here?
I mean, another gentleman that's going to hold out for training camp, and he sounds like he's pretty sure that he's not going to show up until he gets a new deal, is Trent Williams, left tackle for the Washington Redskins. And this is interesting. I don't condone holding out. I think if you want to get a raise or you're looking to secure your future longer, I think you just gotta have your agent talk to the organization and work it out. Over time, you can get a deal done if you're willing to talk. You can't shut the door and can't say, I'm going to hold out, and when you guys get close to my number, then we'll talk. No, it just doesn't work out that way. So Trent Williams, does he deserve a raise? Yes. Is he still decently paid? Absolutely. But I do believe he's been one of the best left tackles in this game up to this point. And, yeah, he could get a little bit of a raise, maybe add another couple million on top of that average per year. And I think that would get the deal done. And he's also looking for security because he is starting to get closer to the end of the spectrum there for age. I think it's another thing that can go away fairly easily. I think a deal will get done with the Redskins. He's another type of player where I don't see him going anywhere. I think the Redskins will lock him up eventually. As far as a holdout goes, and he's getting paid more, than like a Melvin Gordon right now.
Right now he's set to make $11 million this year with a $250,000 roster bonus.
Right. So, and that's the thing, too, is like the Redskins, they have about $11 million under the cap. So they could easily give him a bump in pay and still be under the cap, well below it, and move on. You know what I mean? So I think it's a simple situation. It's going to take care of itself, much like Melvin Gordon, and those guys aren't going anywhere from those teams.
And for a team that lost their starter out to that horrific injury to Alex Smith, that needs that strong left tackle here. But like you said, he is aging. He's 31 this year. This contract goes up that he's under now goes right up until 2020. He's set to make $12.5 million next year. So again, I think he's got 2 years left in his contract. But again, I think he's just looking for a little extra
security
bump, a little bit, so he's good.
He also
there.
wants to lengthen his career because offensive line is one of those few positions where they can play and easily play at a top level into their mid-30s. So.
And whatnot. If you're the Redskins, what better thing to do right now, especially
protection.
If you might start Dwayne Haskins this season, you know what I'm saying? Get him started
Definitely
off with a solid left tackle. Even
and not just left tackle. That whole offensive line is stout.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Unfortunately, last year they went through one guy after another dropping like flies in terms of injuries on the O-line. It really, really killed that offense. And you look at the fact that the loss of Alex Smith, that was a traumatic problem for this organization, and they needed a financier. Hopefully that will be Haskins, but we will wait and see who ends up being that starter.
Yep, absolutely. Cody Cook says, in regards to holdouts, we have seen it work out for some players, but a lot of players may be more scared now after seeing what happened with Earl Thomas getting injured after ending his holdout, trying to prove he deserves the money. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing though. Earl Thomas, I mean, you can't even gauge on that what's going to happen there. And he didn't hold out all the way too because he wasn't willing.
He did hold out a little bit.
Yeah,
but then he ended up coming back.
Yeah, he wanted to even help out his team, but also, I mean. Dude, they care about money too. I mean, if you're starting to lose money here and there too. I mean, that's what they worry about. They're asking for money, so they care about money. So when you start taking money from them, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell was just that sure in himself. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
The dude's got 2 girlfriends.
When they don't see game checks coming in anymore, and they're still waiting at home, like, oh man, when's the deal getting? Call their agent. Hey, did they call you? No. Hey, did they call you? No. Game check. A couple weeks go by. I got to get back on the field, man. I got to get paid and everything. So that type of whole thing, when it comes to holding out. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work out. It might seem like it works out for some players, but it really doesn't in the long run. It's a very negative thing that teams around the league, they evaluate and they watch certain players. It doesn't matter if they're not even on their own rosters. They're looking at other teams' players and seeing how they react to certain situations. And in the end, it does. It just say, for example, let's say Le'Veon Bell, right now, he tried to hold out with the Steelers, became eventually a free agent, and then tried to get another big-time deal. He tried to drum up interest. There wasn't a whole lot there. There was 3 to 4 teams that were kind of lukewarm and trying to see what he was looking for, but in the end, it was always the Jets that were willing to give him the most amount of money, and that most amount of money wasn't even top tier, wasn't even able to make him the number 1 paid running back. So over time, it just doesn't work out. Teams kind of shy away from guys like that are just worried about being the highest paid. And unless they have the cap space, unless they can accommodate that player, it just doesn't work out for either side.
Hollywood Gaming brings up, you guys see Haskins signed with Jordan Brand, so who knows? Yeah, maybe we'll see more of that around the NFL. I mean, that's a big deal. A lot of guys signed with Nike this year. I've got from Darren Ravel here on Twitter. He's got a list of guys now. Check this out. Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, Paris Campbell, Daniel Jones, Devin White, Josh Jacobs, Drew Lock, Miles Sanders, Hunter Renfrow, and Bryce Love, all on Nike. The Jordan Brand is just Dwayne Haskins here. But for the basketball side, Zion Williams signs with with Jordan,
Jordan
as
as
well,
well.
too. So there you go.
Well, who cares about
we'll
basketball?
get Jordan, the Jordan brand now coming to the NFL now, though. So that would be interesting to see people sporting some of the Jordan, brand Nike cleats or something like that. The Air Jordans. I wonder if they would change the logo instead of the Nike Air Jordan. If they would switch it up and have a football be there somehow.
It's never going to happen. But
interesting.
Here's the thing.
That's interesting. It's bleeding into there.
Here's the other thing that maybe nobody pays attention to is that all these rookies, all these like big named rookies, they get sponsorship deals, and those deals are big. Like all these deals with Nike, I know there's a laundry list of players here, but they're all getting accommodated very, very well. They're making millions of dollars just to be, just for Nike to say, hey, we're sponsoring you. So even the contracts are low for these bigger named rookies, they're cashing in the back end that no one really realizes.
Yeah, definitely. Cody chimes in here. I agree if you agree to a contract. It was just agree to agree. I think you stick it out and until it ends. Then you can look to get paid once your contract ends. Yeah,
right.
But I mean, you could do that, but again, you're looking at things to where teams always have the upper hand, though, because they're your employer. If you say, I have a contract up until here, what's that like? We're friends with Jeff Levac on 104.5 The Team. He has to sign a contract for the radio station for a certain amount of years.
For ESPN.
Every year or so, or 2 years, I'm not sure. I think it might be yearly. It comes up around that time.
Well,
and
he just recently signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I don't know what that would be like for me, like, to be on a contract here, like at my job. If all of a sudden my contractor's year is coming up, I feel like I have to be evaluated again. And, what's going to happen? Because you see it with a lot of radio DJs and stuff like that. I'm friends with a bunch of them, and I've seen the way they switch sometimes. Just radio DJs on the air, and then all of a sudden he goes to a different city or whatever. They plug it in here and go in there. And that's an interesting type of lifestyle to try and live by, to where you're on contract, and when it comes up, you figure out whether you're going to go or not. Team owners and things have the advantage there. Players like you hear right now, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take back some of that power. This is the only power where they get a little bit of power, was trying to hold out. Obviously they're not going to.
No.
But this is what they're trying to get, that little bit here. The only way they can do it is try and work out money deals, try and work out the new CBA, which they're trying to get worked out here before 2020.
Yeah, which
now
they've had several meetings
sharing,
already.
which they've got to try and do.
Profit sharing will never happen. I think a percentage of it could happen, but we've already seen the NFL take steps already before they even had these CBA meetings where they're trying to give a little bit more profit sharing back to the teams and the players by just simply giving them the alcohol rights in terms of allowing them for food or souvenir cups and all that type of stuff that you're going to see at the stadiums. Now, the teams are going to be allowed to take that profit and put it right into their pockets and in the players. So you might see like Phillip Rivers, since we just got done talking about Chargers, you might see Phillip Rivers on a souvenir cup in LA, and that's going to go into the pocket of that respected team. So they've taken a baby step and saying, here, this is a good faith, my sir. Take that and let's try to get a CBA worked out just because of that. But yeah, you're right. I definitely think that the players should push for a little bit of extra, and you can't go big. You can't get the profit sharing by we want 40%. It's not going to happen at all. You're going to have to try to get a little snippet of it and slowly work as a new CBA, one after another rolls around, then try to get a little bit more, and take some baby steps to get what you want to get accomplished.
Yeah, and if you talk about the contracts, living it out to what it is, and a player should abide by the contract and play it out because that's what the player should be true to.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Cody before about something similar to this, to where Melvin Gordon, again, let's bring him up again.
Okay.
This, to me, seems like it's a trend here, especially with the younger generation type of player, generational type of player here, to where they're shouting out, this is what I deserved. This is the money I think I should get paid. You see it now with the minimum wage getting raised, I think, where there's jobs available right now, but some are passing it up because they look at this target money they want to make at this point and look at the other things underneath and say, well, this is where I'm looking at. I want to just go straight to here. I don't want to work through here. You know what I'm saying? And want to get at that. And you see the players when they get drafted. What's one of the biggest things that happens? They're tearing up. I'm so glad I've worked so hard to get drafted by this
proud.
team. I'm going to do the
Can't
best to
wait.
do.
I'm here for the
this
team.
franchise, this and this.
Anything
But then
they need, I'm
2 years
there.
in, I'm all about the money. I need to get paid. I need to support my family.
I need a
and
raise.
You're kind of like, where
Yeah.
did that come from? Where
Yeah.
are you going with this now? So
In a
it's
short amount of time.
confusing thing, and for you to expect that they're just going to live out that contract and be happy with that. Yeah, okay, sure.
But here's the thing. You know what? One thing has to happen for them is they have to show production.
Mm-hmm.
And if they show really good production, like a big jump or something like that, I don't think you can ask for a new contract 2 years into it. I don't think it's gonna never work out because the team will just be like, okay, well, you just sit on the back burner until you come to your senses. I do agree with players asking for a new deal on the back end of the deal. So 2 years before their contract expires, maybe before the season starts, like Melvin Gordon's doing right now. He does deserve a raise. He's shown that he can play in this league. He's shown that he can play at a top level. And despite his nicks and bruises here through several seasons, he's still an adequate part of the team and deserves to get a small raise. This is where players need to realize, like, okay, it's fine. You want a raise. That's all well and good. And if you deserve it, you deserve it. But you can't shoot for the stars, right? As soon as this deal concludes, you can't say, oh, well, I want to be the highest paid running back. Just because someone else has that deal doesn't mean that you can make that jump right away. Be reasonable and stick with the team. And here's the thing. Take a page out of Tom Brady. Tom Brady's contract. He has stayed
very team friendly
on a lower level, much lower level than he deserves. For that organization, for the Patriots, he's getting paid on average $15 million. $15 for a quarterback of his caliber for that team. And it's because he wants the team to use the excess money to be able to surround him with better talent so then they can possibly push for another Super Bowl. That's the smart way to go about it. And he still gets paid big-time money. $15 million is nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah.
So I think more players around the league, I don't care if you play corner, if you play D-tackle, if you're playing wide receiver, I think you need to look at it in that light. Like we look at the whole scenario right now, Michael Thomas, they're trying to work out a deal. But, oh, my God, the amount of money that's been offered. I mean, there's been an offer from the Saints saying we'll pay you on average $18 million per year as a wide receiver. And then Michael Thomas is like, well, I kind of want to be the first receiver to hit $20 million per year. That's starting quarterback money.
Yeah, that's a total. Come on,
That
man.
is insane. I mean, even $18 million, I'm sorry, is a lot of money for a wide receiver. But wow, I mean, it's getting out of control for every position at this point.
I'm going to jump ahead a few on the comments here. Go right to Hollywood Gaming, who's watching us on YouTube, by the way. So anybody who's watching us on Facebook, you can also subscribe to us on YouTube as well.
Make sure you do so.
You guys see Hines Ward, former Steeler, I think he meant there. I don't know if he was a dealer or not. He might have had a checkered past. But assistant coach for the Jets, DePrickashaw Ferguson is also there. And
we haven't gotten to that segment of our show yet.
yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to let you know that in a few weeks that we're going to have Tom Goslowski from our local ESPN affiliate, 104.5 The Team. He is going to the Bills training camp, the Jets, the
Patriots.
Giants, and the Patriots. But we're going to get him on after he's been to the Bills and the Jets, I think. So we're trying to see what he can dig up for us here and see if he can get a chance to talk to Hines Ward or some of those other coaches and things and players out there and get you guys an inside look at what it's like and what's going on there at the training camp. See,
we know what you meant.
We know what you meant, man. Definitely. All right, now I'm going to jump up here to from Facebook at Mike Tackett. It's refreshing to see Jalen Ramsey play out the final year of his contract. Whoever arriving in the camp today with the armored money truck seems like a very passive-aggressive way to remind everyone that he wants to get paid, causing more distraction. In my opinion, yes, absolutely, but that's what he does, right? He's like, if he's not talking in an interview in a magazine, this is what he's doing.
And here's the craziest thing.
I didn't say anything. Him with the loudspeaker said it, not me.
The craziest thing with Jalen Ramsey is not only is his ego bigger than anybody else's in the league, but He's not even the absolute best corner in the league.
To Madden, he is.
Yeah, well, of course. And don't get me wrong.
Richard Sherman's the third
He
best.
is a really good corner, but last year you did notice him getting beat a lot more often. Now, I don't know if it had anything to do with the defensive calls that were being made or, I don't know, a completely different game plan this season for the Jaguars defense, but it didn't look great for him coming into this year saying, oh, I want to be the highest paid. I need to make buku dollars. I don't know if he's going to even get that. It'll be interesting to see how this whole negotiation going forward, how it works out.
Definitely here. Mike Tackett brings up, not to mention, corners have a very, very short shelf life as they rely on their speed to be effective. Look how ineffective Darrelle Revis became after he got hurt. Yeah, absolutely. And Cody brings in here, and Richard Sherman's recent struggles trying to stick with faster receivers as well. That's why it's kind of funny when they gave it a Madden rating too. We were kind of puzzled because there were literally Twitter posts and videos posted by the 49ers of him getting cooked by their receivers.
Yeah,
so I mean,
and that's the craziest thing is you and me feel the same way about Richard Sherman. He kind of went on a team friendly deal, but I think he had to. There wasn't a whole lot of interest.
Have to realize sometimes,
and he kind of funneled his teams in a sense to go to because he wanted to stay on the West Coast as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, look at the West Coast. You got the Chargers, you got the Raiders, you got the 49ers, and you got Seattle Seahawks. Maybe going a little bit from the West Coast, you got the Broncos and stuff. But it was limited teams there. And on top of that, the interest wasn't there from all those teams. So it was only like a couple teams that were interested. And I still think that the Niners kind of got shafted. Even though it was a team-friendly deal, we already kind of seen Richard Sherman's decline a little bit. He's getting a little older. He's slowing down. He's coming back from a major injury, and it didn't bode well for him this past season with the 49ers. We saw him getting beat not only during the season, but also he was getting beat in his own practice against his own teammates.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The reason I think the 49ers grabbed him just because he's a former Seahawk.
Yeah, and they needed help at that position.
And he sees Jimmy G, if he is the real deal that everybody thinks too, up and coming, quarterback, youthful here, jump on here. He knows that because that's the team. Who are you going to beat in that division? You have to target the Seahawks. Nobody's done it recently. So and the 49ers probably have the better chance to. So to take that division and
amongst
Hollywood
other
Gaming. Yeah, Hollywood Gaming brings up Sherman honestly becoming slow with age. Honestly, ever since that Super Bowl loss, he has never been the same. Yeah, when it even came out that he's been injured and stuff, coming back from that injury, and coming through, I want
to jump real quick back to Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, sure.
Because here's what I've seen: like this guy wants to be paid big time dollars and everything, wants to be the highest paid corner. But I'm just checking out the Jaguars' salary cap right now. Currently, they have $9 million under the cap. And for the contract that he wants, that's not going to happen. This is a team like we've already talked about the Cowboys situation and how they are eventually, maybe not this year, but next year and years going forward, they're financially in purgatory right now. They're in financial dire straits here, and they're going to have a really hard time signing future free agents or future players on that roster. Jaguars, I see them, unless they do something and shake some things up, restructure some deals, perhaps, they're going to be in that same kind of same situation relatively quickly, especially if Ramsey wants top-tier money. It might be wise. I mean, call me crazy. It might be wise to try to deal Jalen Ramsey at this point and see what kind of compensation you can get and move on, really. So that way you'll be able to have some of that cap space to maybe perhaps look for whatever corner might be available in free agency next year or via draft.
Yeah, and we've seen that before. We saw a self-proclaimed lockdown corner and a trash talker, loudmouth Josh Norman get traded. So it could happen. You never know. And like you said, we've talked about this before with this team. They had a window. They wasted it a little bit too much and holding on to Blake Bortles. Maybe their hand was forced on that a bit sometimes.
Yeah.
They gave him another go last year. failed epically for him, but now they've got Nick Foles here. But again,
now
their
they got
window
smarter.
has closed. And again, because look at all the guys that they had stacked up on defense. These guys are going to have to start getting paid. And I mean, you can list the names on here, and it's ridiculous. You know, AJ Boye, and everything. And Yannick Ngakoue, he wants a deal again too.
Yeah, he wants to be the highest paid.
You got to pay Ngakoue too. On top of Ramsey, I mean, dude.
And real quick on Yannick, there's been recently a contract offer from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And in that deal, not only does the deal make him the 4th highest paid D end in the league, but also, which I'm sorry, that's good enough for me, but he would get paid around $50 million in the first 2 years of the deal. Now, however, the only problem that I think, and Yannick Ngakoue refused this deal. He declined it. And the only reason why is because it was a short-term deal. They were trying to get a 3 or 4 year deal done. He's looking for 5 or 6 or 7. And they just couldn't agree on the length of it. Now, the Jaguars know their salary information. They know what they got to do and project for future years. Maybe they can't afford him past 3 or 4 years. Maybe that's why they offered him that deal. And I understand he wants the security. He wants to be a Jaguar for the long run. But this is where the team is it's handcuffed a little bit right now. So until they make some restructured deals or trade, say, Ramsey away, I don't think they're going to be able to afford Yannick Ngakoue, at least to the means that he is striving for. So that's interesting there, right there, that they offered him just a short-term deal because he is young. He's still in his prime, and he's one of the best sack leaders there is in the NFL. So why wouldn't you want to lock him up long-term? It's interesting they give him a short-term deal. So that tells me that they know, they projected years ahead that we can't afford him long-term. We got to make it a short-term deal. So interesting enough. Let's see how that all plays out.
Cody chimes in right about it. He's a very good defensive end. Just don't know how he expects to get paid when he isn't even the most dominant player on that defense. Jaguars are going to be serious. In serious trouble 2 and 3 years when all these guys start looking for record paydays. Yeah. I mean, that's what we were just bringing up here. You got Miles Jack here, too, on the defense.
I'm sorry, but this week, now Cody and me are in sync right here. We're bouncing the same ideas off, you know?
There you go. That's good.
Last week it was Hollywood.
Yeah, it's true. I know everybody. I like the intensity everybody's bringing. It's like a 3-man race right now.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Is like everybody's coming in hot. Everybody's dropping knowledge. Everybody's putting down excellent questions, and they're all striving for that MVP status.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody Cook also earlier on in the comments here. I wanted to jump back onto this. Because we were talking about Jalen Ramsey, all that. I'm going to jump into this now. Players don't consider the team cap anymore. Just look at Dak's recent comments saying that he should be the highest paid, and so should Zeke and Amari. And again, I think that's a nice idea. By Dak.
Nice idea.
Because, maybe Dak Prescott is that one guy that thinks money does grow on trees, and you can just take it.
It's possible.
There is no salary cap.
Not to mention, Dak has a short-term memory of his career, I guess.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe. Yeah, maybe he's like Herschel Walker and
I'm sorry.
the multiple personalities and a different saying that right now. Because, again, dude, he should be the highest paid. He should be. All right, say you are, dude. Where's your money now? You got defensive players that are playing their lights out and helping you win games. Where's their money in the next year or so? I mean, you can't spread it around to everybody. Yeah, everybody should get paid all around the world. Yeah, and kumbaya and all that stuff, but really you got to come down to earth and see what is your real worth here with this team. Yes, quarterback is the most important position you need to have for your team again. I understand that, and yes, when we were looking at some of the interesting facts and stuff, when we look for our fact of the day, that his rookie year, I think Dak Prescott had the best overall rookie season QBR of all time over Robert Griffin III. I'm sorry, but where are those guys really right now? What's Robert Griffin III doing, and what type of running quarterbacks are they?
Pick me.
Yes, you right here.
All right, excellent. I got some new news here.
Oh,
so for next year's for next year's cap for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Okay. We just mentioned how they could be in salary cap purgatory here. They're over the cap by $14 million next year.
Purgatory.
So this is a critical time this year. You got to wonder. I don't think they can do a deal at this point with Jalen Ramsey. They're going to have to maybe try to move on from him and get whatever they can in compensation. And as far as Yannick Ngakoue, maybe if they redid the deal, that's why they did it short term, paying him in the first couple of years of that deal, the majority of it, it works out better for them in the third year of the cap. I'm sorry, but I'm hitting the panic button right now. I mean, this is a bad thing for the Jaguars to see this in the future. Now, they are definitely going to have to do their due diligence and try to, redo some contracts to lower that cap number big time before next offseason. And you might see a lot of unloading. You might see, in fact, this offseason, you might see maybe a Calais Campbell getting cut
look up his
because he has a high salary.
Yep.
A lot of these vets that are a little older that are making big money, they could easily be cut and let go before free agency next year, and just to get back under the cap space. And that's what I think the Jaguars are going to project to do.
Yeah, he's set to make $15 million next year. Yeah. This season, $12 million with prorated bonus of $2.5 million on top of that. So the cap number for that is 14.5. Next year, 17.5. So like I said, like you just said, this year's the year. Next year, Calais Campbell, I mean, he might be finding a new home. Who knows?
And here, just to say this, I just want to throw this in here. There's 3 other teams that are over the cap next year. The Falcons at $3 million over the cap. Got to do something, but that's okay. That's easy to be adjusted. You got about almost just under $5 million for the Bears will be over the cap. So they're going to have to work on some deals there. And the Vikings at another big number at $12 million over the cap. So we already talked about the Vikings in recent episodes where we were talking about their window's closing. Now what do they do with Kirk Cousins? I don't think they're going to. I mean, do you re-sign the guy? I mean, he's been a decent quarterback, for a good starter for them. But now, at that current number that you've already agreed to pay him, and not to mention $30 million, but also guaranteed fully $30 million, now his contract's going to come up. And if you're already over by $12 million and you want to try to sign him to what, 34? I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that. I think the Vikings are going to go through another hardship, and they got to find a future quarterback and fast to lower that money, drop that money right back below because Kirk Cousins costs a lot of money. Adam Thielen, they just redid a deal with Xavier Rhodes, to mention a couple. So a lot of work has to be done for these few teams going into next offseason.
Yeah, here, Hollywood Gamer says, Jags D is so good, their line is good, and their secondary is killer, Ramsey, like as you said. But then he says, not him, he's my favorite on the D-line. So man, he's talking about Calais Campbell. Don't get rid of him. But, hey, money talks here, and you might have to do it. And, sometimes with some of these other guys that are becoming free agents getting released here and there by certain teams, there's a guy that got released recently who we'll talk about.
Tune into the drop on that,
which we're going to be going into pretty soon. Here, you can grab another guy probably that's a bit less. That's a bit younger because he's going to be 33. He's 33 this year, 34 next year. You got to be honest with yourself that Calais Campbell is going to be. He's on the downturn. He's in the back nine going towards it. He's still relevant.
He's still a really good player.
The idea is to jump in front of these things before it's too late and you tie yourself
much like what
something.
The Patriots do.
Absolutely.
A guy wants a ton of money and he won't come down from it. Oh, they just trade him away. Get compensation.
Well, look what they did with Chandler Jones. They got rid of Chandler Jones.
Jamie Collins.
But he goes to Arizona, and he becomes like I think maybe it was the league sack leader that year. And for Arizona, Chandler Jones. Patriots didn't want him. They wanted to throw the money out there.
It's because of the money. And that's what they do. They
still played well without him. So that's what I mean. They find the next guy. Next guy steps up. And
their pass rush really hurt.
Well, yeah,
really
it did. But, I mean, they found other ways to win. I mean, that's what you're going to do.
They found ways to still win.
Yes. Was it another way to cheat? We don't know. But keep the questions coming, rolling in here, the comments. We were just talking about the holdouts and things like that and money. You can keep it coming here. Here you go, Hollywood. But he's 6'8", 300 pounds. How can you cut someone like that?
Well, here's the thing. It's a financial thing. So, I mean, whenever you get into a defensive lineman making, $15 million a year, that's insane. So I don't see that as, I think that's going to be their way out of this cap problem amongst other moves to happen in the near future. it makes all the sense in the world to me. You know, he is 33 years old. He'll be 34 by next year. And getting to that mid-grade 30 age mark, he still can play. I think he's still got another year left into him at least. But you got to get ahead of these things like Jim just mentioned. You got to get back under that cap, and he's the biggest moneymaker now in that D-line.
Put it this way, $5 million. If they cut him this year, it's a $5 million dead money, and
which is a lot.
9.5 cap savings. Next year, if they cut him next year now, it's $2.5 million dead money gone, and $15 million cap savings.
And that's when
that's
when they got
15
You heard it
cap
here
savings
first.
right there. So that's a big chunk. And yes, it's hard to let these guys go. Yes,
absolutely.
You even surprise yourself like, why did they just release that guy and then not even try and trade him and stuff? Sometimes it doesn't happen that way. They have to make cuts. They got to do it here and there. And it's part of the game, and that's how it happens.
It's part of the business.
It's part of the business. How it goes, And when you have a team that's stacked, you can't please everybody. That's a lot of mouths to feed. And when you're behind it and all the money, you can't feed them all.
Got to make the moves.
Yeah. For some reason, Cody's texts keep coming out as double here. His comments. So, is
that his way of getting ahead in the game?
I don't know, but coming in from Facebook, Cody Cook, he's trying to get in the head of the game in the MVP. He's got double the amount of comments here. If Nick Foles does half as well as people think, you might see. Holy moly, more comments coming here, y'all. Where is it? Half as well as people think, you might see guys like Dede Westbrook looking for a good payday, and possibly even Keelan Cole if he can have a breakout season. If they do, my mind would be blown.
But here's the thing: is I don't, those guys are way too young right now and haven't really proved a lot. I mean, we've seen flashes of Keelan Cole doing very well for one season, but however, they're very young. They're a little inexperienced. They've had some. And we've seen flashes by both of those guys, but you need a little bit more of a body of work to get that big deal. I do see them getting maybe a slight raise for their next deal, but I don't think it's going to be anything catastrophic, anything really big.
Here we go. Hollywood Gamer says, I would say get rid of Ramsey. He's more drama, but he's younger and a good player. I do understand where you guys are coming from, though. Older players making too much money is a problem.
But I'm not just real quick. I'm not saying just get rid of Campbell. I mean, I think they could really set themselves up for the future financially if they get rid of both those guys. I know it's a hard pill to swallow for Jaguars fans, but if you get rid of Calais Campbell now, not now, but next year. You're saving all that $15 million is going right into the bank, and guess what? Now you are just an edge under the cap, and on top of that, you get rid of Ramsey. Now you're farther under the cap. So, and that's just going to help them out for the near future, for the next season, for the season after that. So that's where I see the best game plan. But let's wait and see what the Jaguars decide. Let's see if they agree with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what happens there. And you got to think of addition by subtraction. It is a real thing, and you got to understand it. It works.
And it is a business first.
Yes, and I was one of the guys that are vying for Odell Beckham Jr. to get traded. It happened. People were upset. Fans got to realize, listen, man, and it's not all about you want to love those players, but, they're thinking about it the same way the owners are. Yep. So you got to think about it, and if you want your team to do well, you just got to get value for what you can with them, and you can get decent players here and there. Like I said, when was the last elite wide receiver to win a Super Bowl? That was that wide receiver. Yes, other great or good wide receivers had joined the Patriots and other teams, but Jerry Rice was basically the best elite wide receiver that won a Super Bowl, okay? And so but he also had other all-star players on that team along with him. You can't give it, especially on the defense with Ronnie Lott, too. I mean, countless Hall of Famers. So when you're talking about the Giants unloading, Odell Beckham Jr. to get a couple of those extra first-round picks, that can only help your team get better, get younger, and not have all that money tied down there where you could spread around into some more people and potentially get your future quarterback. Opened up a whole nother window for the Giants there, and this is what we're talking about with the Jacksonville Jaguars too, where they need that refresher there. So that's what we're talking about with that there. And here we go. Cody Cook. I've liked Keelan Cole since he came in, and I just think he's been wasted with Blake Bortles. Could have a big year this season with better quarterback. Yeah, absolutely. We saw it with the one-handed catch. I had a debate with Cody, not even a debate, but I asked him the question, just straight up, man. Let's look at it, man, because I think his one-handed catch is pretty spectacular. He had to come back to it and pull it back. I pretty much almost put it frame to frame with the Odell Beckham Jr. three-finger catch. I'm like, which one's better? I mean, they're obviously going to be, Odell, but I'm like, look at that, though. Look at him now. I'm like, you're looking at, and they started to look at it a little bit closer. But again, eventually they went with the Odell catch just because of where it was and you had to turn back too. But they were pretty spectacular.
I mean,
but for that guy to come out and say, well, I want to get paid now,
yeah,
I don't know. But we've also liked Keelan Cole. He was an up-and-coming player. I thought he would have come out show last year again because he was going to be closer to
was on the come up.
The guy. Blake Bortles kind of stifled that, like you said. Nick Foles, I expect a better year here with Keelan Cole as well, and we'll see him step up. But as far as him begging for a contract or asking for a contract and being like that this year, I don't see it coming. If he does, though, I'd be, like I said, my mind will be blown.
I am really curious on the Jaguars' offense this year. We've already known them as being like a run-heavy type of offense, and I think that was a major factor because they had Blake Bortles. Now I'll be really curious, do they end up becoming more of a balanced offense because now they have Nick Foles, who is a much better quarterback than Blake or Balake. But I really do believe that. I think that they're going to maybe kind of split it up a little bit, divvy it up the carries and throwing the ball. I think they're going to become more of a balanced offense, which is going to make them a really dangerous offense. Everybody kind of throws all the different accolades towards this defense. Oh my God, they're stacked. They're so good on every level, and they may be. But now this offense, even though they have really young receivers, guys that aren't really well known. Around with all the other fans, but tune in to the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. I think they're going to make a real big push for this division, and with Nick Foles at the helm, as long as he stays healthy, obviously, I think they're going to really, really do some damage.
All right, here we go. Hollywood Gamer says, I would like to add those wide receivers are very young, and he doesn't see a breakout here out of these guys. We'll see. I mean, where they're getting the ball thrown to him where it should be.
My friend, watch for Keelan Cole. Watch for
so.
that guy. He's a difference maker. And real quick, I just want to drop back to for the Odell Beckham Jr. debate.
So does Hollywood here.
As I'm sorry, I've seen both catches, and I would have to give the edge to Cole.
Oh, wow.
I think the amount.
Maybe we'll throw it out there. We'll do a side-by-side, frame-by-frame.
Because even as tremendous of a catch Odell's was, to be able to reach back, he was diving backwards, reach back, and just kind of like with those three fingers, hold on tight for dear life and come down with it. Keelan Cole's catch, I would argue, is more difficult than what Odell did.
That was going more out of bounds than...
Not only that, but he had to reach behind him, opposite side, and it was high and behind him. And be able to make that catch...
That's what
with one hand like that and come back with it with the defender right on top of him. That to me was absolutely amazing. So,
and they said what brought their edge in it is that when he got it, he also had the whereabouts to know to land into the end zone and stay in bounds and stuff with Odell Beckham Jr., which, again, that sold me on it too. So that was a tough one to go through. Hollywood Gaming says, okay, I'm a Giants fan, but I'm happy he's gone. I mean, man, it's so much drama, and he's always hurt. I think we better off without him. Yeah, see, there you go. He's on our same wave here. And he's even if he wasn't, even if he said, well, I'm a Giants fan. I love Odell and stuff, and I think it was wrong. I mean, I'm listening to hear your point of view there too. But, again, if you are a true fan of the Giants, you want the better for the team. And also, what I hate about the debate here with the Giants, and now everybody expects, like, with I'm not going to touch on it. I don't want to get angry again, Joe. But it's
going to happen.
The quarterback battle there I want to bring up again here. When is Dan Jones going to go in? All right,
angry sharks are swimming in my head.
I'm not going to jump on it here quick, but I just want to say that everybody expects now, well, the Giants had 3 losing seasons in a row or something. Now they got to turn around this year. No, they don't.
No.
They just got rid of their marquee player here to get the other little pieces of a puzzle to make it work. And I hate to say trust the system, but you kind of got to do it here. Sometimes teams stink, and you got to stink for a little bit to get better. Look at the Cleveland Browns. they stunk for a while. We got
long
this.
time.
Did they lose fans? If you're a true
Nope.
fan, no. You know, the Cleveland Browns fans have still been there. And you know
Loyal.
what? Now they're talking, potential, playoffs and Super Bowl or whatever here. Maybe they're going a little extreme, but they still have hope now. And now they have their team that they have wanted. And now they're moving forward.
Thank
if you're
you,
a fan,
John Dorsey.
You stick with them and you try and build their team and you go through. There was times that they were good, that I watched them in the 80s and stuff like that. Yes, they had one with LT and Phil Simms and stuff, but there were other teams that weren't not that good. They had other wide receivers that weren't that good. They had corners that was Corey Webster and stuff like that. Not that great, but I was a fan. And, yes, they didn't have winning seasons all the time, but it wasn't complained about all the time. It wasn't like they got to turn it around this year now or else it's done. Everybody needs to just to chill out and relax and let things play it sometimes, let it fold out because teams aren't exactly built overnight. You know what I'm saying? Look at the Patriots. They were the bottom of the barrel of the NFL for a while. It was a joke. And now since Belichick came in through there and worked it out and got the key players that they know, he has been able to build a dynasty by doing it the right way, finding the right players, making it work, having the right players that will work with them on contracts. That's what you need. It's all part of a process. Everybody needs to chill out with all of a sudden you got to turn it around right here or we got to complain.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
No,
so,
no.
it's the same kind of scenario for teams and franchises.
I vented again.
Building up.
Okay.
A franchise, it's a long-term deal, and as much as a franchise has to go through the lows, they have to go through the lows to get to the highs.
Absolutely.
So, got to remain patient. I know it's tough for fans. You just have to, and that's the thing too. Is like when you go and look at the Browns and you want to say, well, who's the most loyal fan group in the league? I'm sorry, but they have to be right up there because they've had to deal with more losing than I think any other franchise. I mean, it's been absolutely amazing. And for them to always show up every game, to be impactful, they really, really deep down love the hell out of the Browns. So, and they're always there to support. So, I'm sorry, I just had to go
There
off
you go.
on that.
There you go. Back to, let's turn it right back around to the Jaguars here. Cody says, I think not having TJ Yeldon will affect them more than everyone thinks. Fournette has struggled staying healthy due to the heavy workload, and Yeldon recently did well stepping in his spot. I don't think Hyde will be able to do very well if asked to start for Fournette when he gets hurt. I don't know. I think Hyde will do pretty decent there. I mean, Yeldon was a part that did step in here, but that's one thing you can bring up is Fournette's health for one. Is he going to stay healthy, getting the workload?
Right.
And even is his relationship even totally mended here with Tom Coughlin and the franchise?
Yeah, here's the thing about the Jaguars. Yeah, they may miss TJ Yeldon a little bit, but their backfield is so stacked with talent. It's crazy. Now, I would not be shocked, and this is another player on the Jaguars team. We've heard last year how they were a little upset with Leonard Fournette. They were a little upset on how long it was taking him to come back. And by upset, I mean they even talked about trade last year. So I could see a scenario this year with the talent that they have and the backfield, Carlos Hyde being able to be there. Carlos Hyde could start for them. So because of all that and Leonard and the organization's frustration with Leonard Fournette and his injuries and not being on the field enough, they could give up on him right now, and they could go ahead and trade for some compensation and let that money go, create some cap space that way as well, and have Carlos Hyde as a starter amongst Corey Grant, who I think needs to get the ball more. The guy's amazing. So I could see that kind of a scenario also shaking out for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's not crazy to say before Week 8 that does happen.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens up there in Buffalo with that running back situation they have going on. So
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to call it right this second with the Buffalo Bills. You don't bring in Frank Gore for no reason. He's another guy who's at the towards the end of his contract age, but he still gets it done. He still plays at a high level. Why did they bring Frank Gore in when they already had LaShawn McCoy, who's also kind of getting there a little bit long in the tooth, who also gets injured quite often in the last couple of years? I'm telling you right now, I think McCoy is going to be surprisingly released before the season starts.
And that could open up things for other teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, maybe to try and fill a spot, or some others. Tampa Bay Buccaneers that might want that little extra help there. Because Peyton Barber didn't really work out so well so far in this first season with him.
And that's the funny thing is
here,
we're hearing reports out of Tampa Bay right now that Peyton Barber, it's his job to lose again. I'll say again because he was the starter last year, but you do have a rookie from last year who's trying to climb up that ladder. He's trying to take over that torch there and be the lead guy for Tampa Bay. So
Hollywood Gaming chimes in here now. We're talking about the Browns. We just brought them up here. Browns have come so far, honestly, and Baker is such a smart quarterback in my mind. I honestly think they will make the playoffs this year, but a Super Bowl is really pushing it in my mind. It's just too quick. Yeah, absolutely.
We agree.
Yeah, some
we
people
agree
say here and there.
Yeah, definitely.
But
and that's
even
the thing,
much improved and stuff.
Last
year was much improved.
Last year was much improved, and nobody really gave credit where credit was due as far as the defense of this Browns team. I think they not only improved this defense this year, but I think they're going to be in that top 10, much like we had them in close in that conversation of top 10 defenses projected for 2019.
Absolutely.
Which, if you missed any of those positions that we broke down, top 10 2019 projection, go ahead and go back to our last few episodes where we kind of broke down each position and gave you our synopsis of what we think where they're going to end up this season. But the Browns' defense was good then. They got better now. And on top of all that, they have their franchise quarterback. They have a lot of youth. They trade for Odell Beckham. What's not to love about this stacked roster offensively and defensively? I think, for myself, I don't know if you feel the same way, Jim, but I think they could win the division this year.
I think they can make a push for it, because I think that division is open. So I'm definitely on board with that. Excuse me, man. I don't know.
You're right over there?
I don't know.
Are you? Okay.
I've got issues. I don't know what it is, Joe. You got to scare me to make it go away, I guess. I don't know. Cody chimes in here from Facebook. These conversations is why I loved to watch this show. Most shows beat the same topics to death all week while you guys talk about the viewers talk about interesting too. He did talk about that's his phone glitched. That's awesome. That's what it is. His phone is glitching and sending double messages.
That's what it is.
Interesting topics that are often overlooked. That's what we try and do. Because again, I listen to some of the stuff on the radio, and a lot of times I shut it off because it bothers me. I want to yell at it. It gives me a headache, and I'm tired of the same thing as you. Is hearing a beat and just same things over and over again. And I was listening to a show today to where they invite callers to call in. He tries to give his opinion. Once he says something that it's in a disagreement with the host, they attack him like sharks. Nibble here, bam, 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 to where the guy is feeling attacked by him. So then when he tries to finish his point, they're like, all right, finish your point there. What are you saying? He's like, what was it? I'm trying to get back at where until they just demolished him.
They constantly interrupt him. They constantly shut him down before he can
his
get there.
opinion is absolutely wrong, and you're ludicrous.
And that's the thing about, we
don't do that.
Yeah.
Even if we don't agree on what you're saying, we'll hear you out, and we're like, yo, that's an interesting take.
It's different.
I might disagree.
I still disagree.
Him and I, we don't always agree. You saw even last show, I said this, and he looked at me funny. He's like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, well, that's what I think. All right? It could be wrong. Oh, well. That's why we have different opinions.
So,
that's why we try and do it for you guys. Thank you so much for the love, Cody.
Thank you so much for the support. It's truly amazing. And this is
why our know-it-alls out there. Everybody,
why
Hollywood Gaming.
This is why we created this show.
That's why we did it.
We want to be more of an interactive show. You've seen some of the shows like Jim has mentioned where they invite callers to call in, give us a topic to talk about. If you're talking about the same topic, give us a question, give us a comment, but then they berate them. As soon as they start to say, oh, well, I think this is a little bit different, I think you guys got to look at it this way, they just completely berate the caller and basically shut them down to the point where they just get confused themselves and can't finish what they're trying to say. Here, we like to take it a little bit different of approach. We'll hear you out. We'll give you our opinions on it, and then we move on from there. And this is also a teaching stream as well, because there's a lot of things that Jim does a great job of bringing the fact of the day. And I'm learning every week. I'm learning something new that I didn't know about the history of the NFL. So I think I learn about that. Plus, we also learn from each other. Here, this is a football community that we've built around Mike Tackett. He's always around. He's always dropping big time knowledge. no matter what episode it is. And you guys are right there too. Hollywood, Cody, everybody that kind of chimes in, you all give your great opinions. You all give great questions. And we all love to feed off of that. So if you really, truly love this stream, please support it and have friends that enjoy talking about football also support it by going to YouTube, Football on the No Show, and smash the hell out of that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to get all our newest updated content.
Absolutely.
And let's keep growing this family.
Tell your friends, too. Tell your word of friends, word of mouth and everything. And don't forget.
Also on Twitter.
Yeah, in the fall, we will be in syndication, too, what you guys know, too. So look out for that. But we've got more comments coming in here, too. Hollywood Gaming, he's got a question about the Vikings, or he brings up Vikings picking up running back D'Angelo Henderson. Do you think the Vikings are scared Cook won't be able to play again? And do you think he might be his last chance to have a healthier year?
We kind of broke it down already. And this is the thing. We've talked about this last year. We said that their window is going to start to close. They're going to have to either win now or move on from Kirk Cousins, because honestly, I don't see them paying him another humongous contract because they have other mouths to feed. They still have to re-sign plenty of other players. And so far, they've done a good job of still keeping like a guy like Xavier Rhodes, a guy that they almost lost in Anthony Barr this past offseason. He almost went to the Jets, and then they convinced him to stay, and he signed under a new deal. So guys like that are critical for this futures team's success. Kirk Cousins, however, I don't see him in the near future. I don't know if they could agree on a $30 million plus contract again with the crazy cap constrictions that they're going to have for the following year. So, yes, they're in a nutshell, that window is closing this year. They either have to win it all this year or not necessarily hit the reset button, but in terms of quarterback, they got to find that new face.
And the as far as running back and Dalvin Cook, yeah, I think so too. Why not have some insurance? Because you don't know. I think if he could stay healthy, yes, he's just as electrifying as some of the top running backs, but he hasn't been able to. So you need to have him.
But you got to remember too. I'm sorry to jump in,
sure,
but Dalvin Cook, it's only 2 years in the NFL. I mean, I understand people like to jump and say, oh well, he hasn't done much for the. Listen, he came back from major knee surgery. He's coming back. If he stays, and I say this lightly, if he stays healthy this year, he's going to prove the reason why they drafted him in the first round. He is the answer in the backfield for them. It's just a matter of him staying healthy. And if he can't stay healthy this upcoming year, then you can start to have some concern for the near future and might have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, Mike Tackett joins us here on Facebook. He puts a list of the free agents out here. Some of this is in the drop.
You're going to spoil some of the drop here, Mike.
He is. But of the following notable free agents, who is the most likely to make the biggest impact on a team this year, in your opinion? My opinion is that Mike Daniels can further solidify the depth for the D-line position in Cleveland, should he go there. All right, he's got Mike Daniels here, Eric Berry, Michael Crabtree, Jay Ajayi, Dez Bryant, Mo Wilkerson, Nick Perry, Mason Foster, Corey Legit, Trey Boston, DeMata Pico, and Jonathan, what was that?
Cyprien. Yep. I tell you right now.
It's an interesting list, but I think after some cuts or maybe something, then they'll get signed. I don't think they're going to get signed earlier.
Right now, Trey Boston is already doing a workout for a team. Not going to let you know what that team is right this second.
I can let you know right now.
Go ahead, tell him.
Well, right now he was working out with the Giants. I know that much.
That's right. If the Giants happen,
I think they should take him.
Here's the thing. If you're looking at this whole list, there's 2 guys on this list that I would sign today. One is Mike Daniels, who came available. Now,
absolutely,
he's not going to be there for the long term because he is about 31-ish. I think that's correct, right? He's about 31 years old, maybe a little bit older. Maybe 33. I think maybe it was 30. But anyway, he would be a nice stopgap for the first year or maybe even 2 years. However, Trey Boston is one of the most underrated safeties in this game, and I cannot believe he is out there. This is going back to back, free agencies. Back to back, this guy is kind of just floating out there, and no one signs him. This guy is a very, very good safety, and no matter who gets him, he's going to be a dramatic impact type player. So, for me, Trey Boston's a little bit younger than Daniels, so I think Trey Boston right now would be an impact type of player on this out of the group that's displayed right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will say this. Coming in a close second is definitely Mike Daniels, like Mike Tackett was just saying. Mike Daniels is a difference maker on the interior of the line. I think a team like Cleveland, I think a team like Kansas City even, that could use that kind of bulk up the middle and make that D-line really nasty. Those are teams that have cap space right now. Those are teams that could sign him. And he is looking for a contender. So it's not just anybody can sign this guy. He's a little bit older. He's looking to join a contender. And I don't think the Browns are quite ready to make that leap into the Super Bowl conversation. I do think it could definitely catapult them to help them win the division. But I see him going more the route of maybe the Patriots, of maybe the Chiefs, to bring him in and see what he does.
Absolutely.
Then.
A guy I think who has been pretty effective, even though despite his age or whatever. I mean, we saw him on the defense or the Packers to where at times he seemed like he was the guy that was pushing the line and making it happen when some of the other guys just weren't producing. You know what I mean? He was nasty, especially 2 years ago. So
Brutal
the fact that
D-lineman.
he's out there is pretty amazing. And to bring up the fact, like when they cut guys, like we were talking about Calais Campbell there and stuff like that, things like this are going to happen. Financially,
he was
things
making
need to happen.
he was making about $8 million coming up to this season, and given his age and everything, they wanted to make a change. So they end up dumping that salary, getting rid of him, and then, quite honestly, I mean, just wait and see where Mike Daniels goes. So it's going to be a great addition wherever he goes. Definite starter.
All right. Joe, we've got somebody.
Somebody
else at the door now.
Who's this?
Zachariah Dooley is in the house tonight.
What's going
That's
on,
the first time
Dooley?
guy here. Dooley here. He says Patriots. Yes. All right.
I'll tell you right now. I mean, it's a very possible situation to see the and this is what the Patriots have done better
makes
than
sense
any
to
other
me.
team. I mean, they've done a great job of snagging guys that kind of just fall into their laps, and they could definitely use a guy like Mike Daniels to help that push on a rush and create catastrophic havoc in the interior of that offensive line and push right into the quarterback. So that's what they need. They need pressure. They need pressure badly, and this guy could also help that D-line do the same thing. Especially got Michael Bennett there as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And like you said, Trey Boston, I mean, once I found out he was trying out for the Giants and stuff, or, they were working him out.
That would be
I
the
think
best
that'd be a
signing
great
right
pickup
now.
there. Absolutely. Why not? That's great. Again, he's a nice diamond in the rough there. Mike Daniels, absolutely, too. And like we said, potentially the Patriots. Cody says, he doesn't understand why the Cowboys aren't bringing in Eric Berry to at least a tryout. They are weak at the safety position and just seem to be ignoring it at this point.
I don't necessarily think
don't
they're
think they're
weak
weak
at the
either.
safety position. I think they're pretty solid at it. However, you could bring in Eric Berry for like insurance purposes, but here's the thing with Eric Berry is the reason why teams are shying away from him is because he's been, critically injured to the point where I think teams see him as losing more than a step in terms of speed, and in terms of flexibility, in terms of agility. And I think that's going to hurt his game. Yes, he's still got the mind for it. He's still sharp as attack, still could play the position. But physically, it's not looking good for him to catch on a team unless, like I said, either insurance purposes or injuries to that position.
And as far as some of the other guys, again, we've already seen Des Bryant come and go here and there. And unfortunately, when he tried to go on to the Saints and make that last run like he wanted to, getting the injury and fall short there. Jay Ajayi might be an interesting one out there. Potentially, again, if they want a little depth at running back in some positions here. Michael Crabtree, too. When a team like the Jets are weak a little bit at wide receiver and things there, at least again, give him a tryout, see what happens. He's known for sure hands.
But here's the thing with Crabtree is that he's not going to be a guy that can test deep down the field. He does have some decent speed for his size, but he's a guy that you want to see more in the slot or wide receiver too. I don't see him going to the Jets quite simply because they already have a guy like Quincy Enunwa that's already going to kind of fill that position. They did sign Jamison Crowder to play wide receiver too, and they still have Robbie Anderson. Yeah. So I think they're going to still utilize those tools that they have. Now, there's nothing to say that they can't bring him in anyway.
Why not?
Sign him to a one-year deal and see if he works out and helps this offense. especially with a young quarterback like Sam Darnold. But again, he's another player where teams are shying away, not because of injury really, but because of age, and they don't see him being a major impact. Much like Dez Bryant, we think that Dez Bryant's kind of ran his course in terms of getting on the team. We do know that the New Orleans Saints still have expressed some kind of lukewarm interest in bringing him back. Mm-hmm. We know that they gave him a shot last year, and I've seen some of his workouts, and he looks like he's back to where he was before. Mm-hmm. But then again, Father Time, it's a Debbie Downer here for him. And I think a lot of these guys, because of their age and everything, I think that you're going to see teams kind of move on. They draft new, younger guys. They pick up in free agency new, younger guys. They make these different changes, and it kind of leaves out these older guys to land a job. So, unfortunately, who knows? Maybe time has passed for those guys.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying with this group, the certain ones are going to get picked up here, but I think a lot of them are going to sit along the wayside until rosters are cut, and you need to fill spots here with a solid backup. Like Cody even says, Crabtree will be more of a solid red zone threat, nothing more than a solid backup. Seems like it makes sense again because we even saw when was Dez Bryant ever going to go. That was part of the interview we did on CBS 6 with Brittany Devane. Mm-hmm. She asked where was Dez Bryant maybe going to go. We brought up different scenarios. Mm-hmm. He didn't go to the Saints for until a while, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him. But that's what you're going to see here. They're going to find some spots, and that'll be interesting to look at too along the way here. And the Hollywood Gaming brings up man's been down for like the last 3 years about Eric Berry, and that's what you're looking at. The Chiefs team that still made it to the playoffs despite having him. Yes, the defense definitely did struggle. They weren't playing the best here. They weren't the best, and I think that's an interesting take to look at with this year because everybody, the Chiefs. Again, with the Tyreek Hill, everything going on with that, Patrick Mahomes.
Don't get me started.
I know. But again, when people start the whole rally train and want to explode and shout about the Chiefs, they're Super Bowl bound again this year and this. What, looking at this team that they have done this offseason, I think that has told me that they got better. I don't know. I'm looking at it.
I think that their defensive line is better.
The defensive line possibly. But look at what they've done, spending the money. Again, they weren't sure if they were going to get Tyreek Hill back or not because of everything, but they are. And the lack of suspension there or even punishment is questionable by the NFL, and to where it makes me think that they just want this team to be such a Cinderella team and the face of the NFL right now with Patrick Mahomes on the cover of Madden. Lights it up last year with 50 touchdowns. You throw him out there. If he has a down year, doesn't look so good. The Chiefs here, I don't see it as much as some of these guys are really promoting this team here.
Here's the thing about this Chiefs team is that offensively, they haven't lost anything. They're getting everybody back. Plus, their offensive line is healthier now. Mm-hmm. They had the whole offseason to heal up. They were banged up a little bit. One became a medical doctor over in the offseason, and now he's one of their best. I can't even pronounce his name, otherwise I would.
Laurent
Tarif Defer or something like that.
Yeah.
He's coming back healthy, and he's ready to hit the ground running. This offensive line, this offense is looking every bit as good as last year on paper. However, defensively, I only seen improvement on the D-line. And after that, we already knew that they needed help at cornerback. Mm-hmm. I don't think they've done enough there. Mm-hmm. They do have Kyle Fuller. Don't get me wrong. He's a very, very good cornerback on one side. But after that, I don't see any threat really at safety. I know they do have a up-and-coming, very, very under-the-radar type of safety that could emerge, by the time week 1 rolls around. But after that, they got the same linebackers. They got Anthony Hitchens, on that linebacking core. They got the same guys with Reggie Ragland, and not a whole lot of help afterwards. So I still think this defense is going to struggle when it comes to
the back end and
passing. Pass defense, I think, is going to struggle big time. And offensively, they may be able to keep up with some teams with just scoring points. But when it matters in the playoffs, you need a good defense, and
right.
I think that's going to be their stalemate.
Absolutely, and when you look at their games, what was it all the time? Offensive shootouts. They score points. Well, we got to score points back because our defense just gave up the points again. It's Arena League all over. Well, you saw the game with the Patriots too. Again, they had opportunities to win that game, at times. But again, Patrick Mahomes, 99 awareness somehow or something or other they told, but making mistakes, not getting to the guy that's open here and there, and that made a difference in that game to where they weren't able to pull off that win when they could have beat the Patriots. And then that team, like you said, giving it up on the back end in the secondary, it's a part of a problem. So I just wanted to bring that up again because it reminded me again that with the Eric Berry situation, him not being in there, they were affected by that a bit still.
Absolutely. So. I mean, but the nice thing that they have too is they have the Honey Badger. Who's there, who's signed, who's going to be at that safety position. But what's really interesting about the Honey Badger is that he can play multiple positions in that secondary. He could play safety. He could drop down as a slot corner. He can play outside corner. They could move him around like a chess piece to kind of really mess with some of these offenses. As critical of a signing as he was, I don't think he can do it all. So I still think that they're going to struggle at times trying to stop the better offenses in the league. And I just want to point out that when you start to see like big names, like Mo Wilkerson is one of the bigger names on that list. Jay Ajayi, he's got knee issues. That's why teams might stay away from him. Corey Legit, a little bit older. Demarca Pico, a little bit older. Like all these guys that have been out there, they're either injury-laden or they're way late in their careers, except for guys like, I'm sorry, but Trey Boston's just ridiculous. I don't know how he's free agent. But anyway, when you start to see guys like this that are either long in the tooth or they just have the injury bug late in their career, and teams are staying away from them willingly, there's a reason for it. Either they definitely have a decline in play, or the teams project them to have a decline in play. They just don't want to put in the investment to get them on the team. So stay clear of guys that teams stay clear of. So I know some fans might look at this list and be like, oh man, Michael Crabtree, oh man, Des Bryant and Mo Wilkerson and all these guys that used to be really, really good. Jonathan Cyprien is another one of those guys that's just injury laden, hurt every year. So stay clear of the guys that teams stay clear of because they know more than we do.
Joe, we're up against the clock. We got to go right to the drop. It's been a while. We're going to get up the headlines here. And some of the stuff that we were talking about is part of the drop as well.
Pawn Stars Shop helps nab thief trying to sell Mark May's stolen Super Bowl rings. And this is a story that was quite interesting to me because Mark May went out to Vegas. He was doing a fundraiser, doing charity work out there in Las Vegas. And the big major, Pawn Stars, TV show, the reality show, the Pawn Stars Shop there, they had a gentleman come in, none other than the hotel that Mark May was staying at. He accidentally left Super Bowl rings behind. So I don't know how you do that, first of all.
Dude.
And second of all, the staff, it wasn't even the staff that which found them, didn't keep them. Yep. They gave them to the manager. And the manager in turn tried to sell them for like a few $1,000s to get it, get rid of them quick. He goes into the Pawn Stars Shop here and tries to sell them for $12,000 to them, and they immediately call the authorities. He ends up getting nabbed, getting handcuffed, and taken into custody. And the Pawn Stars reach out to Mark May.
And absolutely, you should know with that place that they go right to the professionals to double check what this thing is worth all the time.
Absolutely.
So they have the best guys there. Wouldn't you go to a smaller shop even to try and get your $12,000 out of it?
The hole in the wall.
Idiots.
Miami Dolphins D-tackle Kendrick Norton, who had to have his left arm amputated after a car crash, has been released from the hospital. Great news. Kudos to him. And I hope everything gets better for him in the near future, per his agent, Malky Kawa. The Houston Texans will have an opportunity to take part in this historic Green Bay Packers tradition of riding bikes with the kids to practice during their joint practices this offseason. This means that J.J. Watt will be able to ride bikes where he grew up loving the game.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Well, good for him.
Pretty special story. So that's pretty cool.
There you go. That's cool.
64-year-old Chiefs fan who pointed a laser at Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game, as many of you know about, pleaded guilty to disturbing the peace, avoided jail time by doing so, but was given a $500 fine. So I'm sorry, but I mean, $500, if you got the money, I think it's worth it to try to mess them up. Darren Sproles, everybody. We thought this guy was going to end up retiring, but no. Darren Sproles is coming back for a 14th season with the Philadelphia Eagles, signing a 1-year deal. So Darren Sproles
can't keep him down, man.
keeps going.
No, if he can still got it, man.
I mean, 14 seasons at one of the most physical positions at running back.
But they say, yeah, it's limited time.
Absolutely insane. He's, defying all odds. Denver Broncos head coach Vic Fangio announced music will be banned during the team's practices throughout training camp ahead of the 2019 NFL season. This is kind of a hot topic recently. A lot of people are upset about it. Players in the league are like, wait, what? What is he doing? He's taking away music. I think part of it is because he's a very old school type of coach.
Yeah.
He wants to go back to having all the attention on the plays, the drills, and practice in general, and nobody dancing. During the practices.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
So as much as music is a big part in a lot of organizations across the board in training camps and practices.
That's what he sounds like in practice, too. He sounds like
the Broncos will not have any.
Don't fail me again.
Houston Texans safety Justin Reed was rear-ended by a drunk driver Saturday night. He only received a few bruises and is doing well right now, after which Justin said, quote, "I feel better than I do sometimes after football games,
yeah.
LOL,
yeah.
End quote. So he's seeing the lighter side of what transpired, but we're glad that Justin Reed is healthy. Mm-hmm. He's going to be okay. He'll be coming right into training camp on day one. Seattle Seahawks D-tackle Jarran Reed has been suspended for the first 6 games of the 2019 season for a violation of the NFL's personal conduct policy. I'm sorry, NFL, but what the hell are you doing? And this goes back, this whole story breaks down, and when you really read into it, Jarran Reed was not even convicted of this situation that he was in. And not even being convicted, you're giving him a 6-game suspension, but Tyreek Hill, who has audio evidence of at least threatening his wife, who he's beat up multiple times in college, and a bad track record, he threatens his wife, and since the NFL is so against domestic violence, you catch wind of that and you give him zero suspension, but Jarran Reed's getting 6. Not even convicted, just kind of like, oh, he might have done this. Wow, NFL, you are truly screwing up royally. Unbelievable. I can't take it. Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman expected to be sidelined for about 3 weeks with a thumb injury, per Adam Schefter. And really, he's not like a newbie, so even if he misses 3 weeks of training camp, whatever. We already know what Julian Edelman can do. The solicitation of prostitution case against Patriots owner Robert Kraft has officially begun its migration through the Florida Appeals Court. So now they're appealing that decision. A decision is not expected, however, for months. The party that loses the appeal surely will attempt to take the issue to the Florida Supreme Court, which would then delay a resolution even longer, obviously. Mm-hmm. But just to say, a lot of people thought Robert Kraft was out of the woods and said, I'm free. Nope, going to appeals court. They're going to try to determine that, can we use this evidence? Can we do that? Can we try to do everything the right way and keep this thing going? This is not going to go away very quickly like it did in the beginning. This is going to go on. I mean, who knows? It could go on for like a couple years.
Stretched out and did nothing. Yes.
Eli Manning, I just want to say this before I announce this. The Giants, okay? Jim gets fired up about this topic. I get fired up about this topic. Everybody wants to jump to the new rookie and Daniel Jones. But Eli Manning and Daniel Jones will not, can I repeat, won't have an open quarterback competition. Just want to throw that out there to everybody that keeps drumming this up. Well, is Daniel Jones going to start by week 1? Oh, he may be pushing Eli Manning for the starting gig. What? Nope, not going to happen. There is no open competition. They are in no rush to start Daniel Jones over Eli Manning. Let Eli Manning go out gracefully in the sunset when he needs to go. He's still a productive quarterback. He's still a guy that's very deadly when you give him time. Hopefully the offensive line that's improved this year will give him that time, and he'll prove all the doubters wrong. Sorry, I got fired up on it. Former 49ers and Raiders linebacker Navarro Bowman has announced his retirement. And he is retiring as a 49er, which is interesting because his last year as a 49er, things weren't really right. There was a lot of friction, a lot of turmoil between the two's relationship, and they kind of broke apart, leading to him signing with the Raiders. He's now kind of forgiven everybody now. Now he says, you know what? Time has healed everything. I'm going back to be a Niner. And he just retires on them. So
there you go.
The Redskins offensive tackle Trent Williams not expected to report to training camp. If you heard us earlier in this episode, we've already discussed this. Needs to be locked up. Falcons safety J.J. Wilcox is out for the season with a torn ACL. There you go. One of the first major injuries before the season even starts, before they even get to training camp. And J.J. Wilcox go down. Luckily, he's not one of the starters for the Atlanta Falcons, so that is a blessing in disguise. Jets signing tight end Ryan Griffin for insurance after tight end Chris Herndon is going to have to serve a 4-game suspension for this season. I'm actually surprised. Ryan Griffin was actually a pretty good tight end for the Texans, and he was just out there for someone to grab. Yeah. The Atlanta Falcons have signed defensive end Alan Bailey to a 2-year deal worth $10.5 million with $6 million guaranteed. Of the $6 million, $3.5 million is guaranteed for the 2019 season per Adam Schefter of ESPN. This is a good signing, and this couldn't happen at a better time for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are looking for a more stout type of defensive end, and I think they get that with Alan Bailey. Surprised he was still out there to be signed. Jets fans, this is for you.
Yes.
Quarterback Mark Sanchez has reportedly retired from the NFL at age 32 to join ESPN and ABC as college football analyst. There's rejoice. Finally, Mark Sanchez just goes away like everybody wanted him to. No more butt fumbles on the field. No more bad decision making. Now he just might make bad decision making and calls in the booth. Sorry. Bengals agreed to a 4-year contract extension worth reported $43 million per Adam Schefter with none other than wide receiver Tyler Boyd. Locking up Tyler Boyd, keeping him in Cincinnati for 4 years. Because what's going to happen with A.J. Green eventually? He's starting to, he's starting to get a little bit older. Washington Redskins released veteran linebacker Mason Foster, according to NBC Sports, J.P. Finley. Also, according to Mike Tackett earlier, who was the first to drop it right. But they have plenty of depth at that position, and Mason Foster at this point is no longer the starter, and they don't need him. So let's get rid of the cap. Get rid of the salary. Minnesota Vikings corner Holton Hill has been suspended for an additional 4 games for a violation of the NFL's substance of abuse policy. Hill, who's at the ripe age of 22 years old, just doesn't get it, was suspended for 4 games back in April, for violation of the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. So this might be the first player within a year to be suspended not only once, but twice for 2 different things.
Winners don't use drugs.
Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, Hill will now be forced to sit out for half the year for 8 games of the 2019 season. What are you thinking, Hill? What? Minnesota Vikings should just cut you just for that.
What an idiot. Oh, what a loser.
100%. I can't agree with you more, Will Ferrell. The Dallas Cowboys have released wide receiver Allen Hurns, who suffered a dislocated ankle during last season's playoffs. Adam Schefter of ESPN reported the Cowboys were looking and seeking if Allen Hurts would come back at a lower price because of the injury, because of the concern there. But he wanted to test the market. So here you go, Allen, you're cut. There you go. Now to go test the market. Wrong decision. The Washington Redskins running back Adrian Peterson is reportedly being sued by a Pennsylvania lender, D'Angelo Vehicle Sales, for allegedly defaulting on a $5.2 million loan, the proceedings of which he used to pay back other debts he incurred, including millions from a payday lender, according to Daniel Kaplan of The Athletic. Adrian, you made a ton of money in your prime. Why on earth are you taking loans out? And that's what the money lenders are pounding down on his door. That's a lot of money. And to this point now that you're at the end of your career, you don't have that security anymore. That's why he still has to play. That's why he still play.
I started thinking the same thing.
And here's the problem. This is what's more concerning to me is like there's players that have recently retired where they just kind of saved money. Yeah, they bought a house. Yeah, they bought some cars, but they maintained most of their earnings and have multi-million dollars at retirement. AP, man, you made a ton of money. What happened to it all? Wow. Very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers have signed defensive line Dean Lowry to a contract extension. General Manager Brian Gutekunst. That's a mouthful.
Butcher it.
Gutekunst. Whatever you want to call him. The Kunster.
Got bronchitis.
Announced the transaction. This is a underrated type of player for the Green Bay Packers. They lock him up for the long term and keep him as a Packer. The Pro Bowl D tackle. Mike Tackett. Thanks for the initial report. Pro Bowl D tackle Mike Daniels has been released by Green Bay. If you had just in case if you haven't heard earlier, 7 seasons with the Packers per Mike Garafolo. The Pac-12 conference today announced that the 2020 and 2021 host site for the Pac-12 football championship game, presented by 76, will be in Las Vegas at the new home of the Raiders. So already bringing in a modern-day, modern-era stadium, brand new. They're already starting to bring in people that are going to pay for the space, baby. Hines Ward, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, and Calvin Pace are working at Jets camp this season. The former NFL vets are now on the same sidelines and are 3 of Bill Walsh coaching interns starting this season. So these are former players, obviously, that are looking to get into the coaching ranks, and they've gone through the schooling, through the NFL, through the Bill Walsh program, and look to be future coaches. The Tennessee Titans, left tackle Taylor Lewan announced Wednesday afternoon on Twitter and Instagram that he has been suspended by the NFL for the first 4 games of the 2019 season for testing positive for a banned supplement by the name of Osterin.
Winners don't use drugs.
And here's a funny thing is he commented and put a video out about how he would never cheat the game. He doesn't look to try to do things that way. He wasn't sure. I guess he didn't know that this was a banned supplement. But looking back, this is 3 months ago. Looking back now, it's like, why didn't you go to the trainers? I mean, I thought this was a thing that players just did often. Whenever they're going to take a substance or a vitamin or anything, they got to make sure the ingredients are okay for. Hey, you gotta make sure that everything is on the up and up and they can take it. So that's one thing that I just kind of think that have a hard time balancing. But Marcus Mariota is very sad at this point. And last but not least, the last bit of news: the New Orleans Saints did make a signing today, and it was none other than D tackle Ziggy Hood. He's up to no good in New Orleans.
You have balls. I like balls.
And there you have it, everybody. The drop, a long drop.
Yeah, it was.
That's
Holy
for sure.
moly, a lot of news. Had to fill it in there. Wow, okay. Woo. And we still have people chiming in here, too. During the drop, Hollywood Gaming brought up Eli should start. It's dumb to try and rush a new quarterback. And honestly, man, won you a Super Bowl. How can you even bench him coming off a year he had? And that's just funny. And again, I've listened to another show today that gave me a driving headache because they want to say, don't come at me with his stats and say that's your argument and this and this and blah, blah, blah. You know, they went losing records, so there you go. But did he lose the games for him?
No, it's a
what
team
wide
game.
receivers, where is he throwing it to?
Mm-hmm.
You got plenty of other things you have the defense too. You have to deal with too. There's a lot of different issues.
Offensive line issues.
I
mean, that's the quarterback's number one.
47 times. I mean, we already know this.
Quarterback's
we
number
know
one.
this.
We know.
We talk about it all the time.
Know-it-alls know it.
We
know it.
So
Everybody's in the know on the show.
But yeah, exactly. It'd be dumb. So, but the Giants had thrown it out there that this is definitely not a quarterback battle. Mike Tackett. One last thing here, we'll go over here with Mike Tackett. He brings up NFL rankings for Pro Football Talk. Agree or disagree? Holy moly, dude! There's a huge. He's got all 32 rankings. So
start from the bottom.
Hollywood can't see this list, but we got the Arizona Cardinals at the bottom at 32, the New York Giants at 31. 30 is the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals at 29, the Oakland Raiders at 28, Washington Redskins. Now, what the frig? How are the Redskins above the Raiders and even the Giants and the Cardinals? Who knows? They could be improved. They're young right now. So at the wide receiver position, quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the same argument for the Jets.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. The Redskins 27, Bucks are 26, the Lions are 25, Jets are 24, 23 are the Broncos, 49ers at 22, Buffalo Bills at 21, Tennessee Titans are 20, Atlanta Falcons 19, Panthers 18. What? I don't see how you put the Falcons at 19, especially underneath the Panthers. 17, Houston Texans, Jaguars jump start in front of the Texans here. At 16, Green Bay Packers at 15, Baltimore Ravens 14, Cleveland Browns 13. Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. I say bring Green Bay up there with Cleveland. I say drop the Ravens.
Drop the
down
Ravens. Yes, absolutely.
I could see them back at 21 down in.
Here's the thing. I never liked rankings. Mm-hmm. Never liked power rankings, all this crap. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense. That's why they play the games every week. That's how we find out how good these teams actually are after the changes in each offseason.
So, it doesn't sound right, right?
This is just it's a terrible list, and to be honest with you, it doesn't matter how we categorize them. I still think power rankings and NFL rankings in general are just absolutely just asinine.
This is
terrible.
what they're for us to talk about it. Like, what?
There, I just dissed every list out there. That's
Everybody
right.
has an opinion. That's why even when we come up with our list, if you guys agree, you don't.
We don't do power rankings, just so you know.
We definitely don't do power rankings.
It's terrible.
So, right underneath, check this out. All right, right here in front of the Cleveland Browns are at 13. The Minnesota Vikings at 12. Interesting there. The Chargers at 11. Pittsburgh in front of the Chargers at 10.
Question mark?
Seattle Seahawks at 9. The Saints at 8. Rams at 7. Colts at 6. The top 5 are the Bears at 5. The Cowboys at 4. That one blows my freaking mind. And the Eagles even. I mean, there's a lot gambling. I am on the fence about the Eagles. I think the Eagles can go either way here. I think it's a toss between the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles taking the NFC East. But I will say neither of those teams belongs in the top 5, in my opinion. Kansas City Chiefs number 2, Patriots number 1. I don't agree with number 2 either. So.
I don't agree with the whole list.
But the whole list sucks.
That?
Yeah,
it's a terrible thing to do.
Football talk.
I mean, come on.
Shame on you.
That is why they play the games.
Yeah.
I hate the whole let's figure out who's the strongest team in the NFL. Yeah. Come on.
What do you base this on? Are you basing this on even their records? Or because if you looked at the schedule that they have? Have you looked at the schedule? Some of these are wicked hard.
Absolutely. And here's the thing: is I could sit here and pick apart this list. But I don't do these stupid lists. It's for a reason because
we do
how
lists.
do you put one team against the other and say, oh well, this team's better than this team? Why? Because any given Sunday, any team can win. So these lists are just stupid, just plain dumb.
There you go.
Like stop doing these stupid lists. I just can't stand it. Now here's something for the mass media out there. I know they're probably not even going to pay attention to us, but we're going to try. NFL Network, ESPN in general, Fox NFL, all these major NFL outlets, these even social media wise. Here's what I'd like you to do. Stop doing these make-believe lists that really don't mean anything. I mean, we see them week to week, and they're just dumb. How about you try projecting? You know, me and Jim, like that's what we do. That's what we've done. We've tried to project who's going to be top 10 of every position, and see by the end of next season, we're going to compare notes by the end of next season and review and see if did we do good, did we do bad. But that to me is what really. What's awesome is being able to try to predict what's going to happen with each team.
Yeah, and if we're right, we're right. We're wrong, we're wrong. Who cares? Let's talk about it.
It's fun to talk about, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Not this crap. Get it off the screen. I don't want to see it anymore.
I'm sorry. Well, there it is. So we're going to wrap up our show with that. I thank everybody for watching us. Thank Jeremiah Spicer from the XFL.
Yes. Awesome.
NFL hopeful. He just worked out with the Chargers not too long ago. Coach Lynn is very interested in him. Who knows? He's on the linebackers list for giving him a call in case they want him. So it's interesting to check him out. He's got a great backstory, too. I mean, talk about strive to want this, to want to be in the NFL, not be on a D1 college team, to just given the worst hand I think that life could deal you sometimes, and fight through the fire and have that want and urge to be an NFL player and keep going.
And here's
believe in yourself.
Yeah, it's a very true statement is hard work pays off.
Yeah.
And this is the epitome of hard work pays off. This guy came from literally nothing, didn't really have family. He had his grandmother growing up real quick. She ends up passing away, goes through,
foster home
after foster home
living
after
on the streets.
foster home, living on the streets and everything, and then to make something of himself, to get him out of the negative neighborhoods and all that, to be able to get to this point, and right on the horizon right here, he's going to be drafted in the XFL at least, and possibly maybe make an NFL roster at some point, because when you start to get a handful of teams interested in you, there's some real interest there that's starting to brew up, and I hope we are definitely heavily in his corner. We're rooting him on. Jeremiah Spicer, we definitely think the world of him, think he can make it. He's got the drive. He's got the tenacity. He's got the hard work that's already behind him. It's just a matter of and he, quite honestly, he did it all by himself initially. And now that he's more well-known, other teams are starting to pay respects, and we hope to God that he makes the NFL.
Yeah, and still does stuff for his community,
for you, buddy.
Too, working with the
Keep
community
grinding.
and stuff. So that's great for him. I thank him for being on there. It was a great show having him. All you guys chiming in with the questions and comments. We love it. Our show goes over almost a half hour every time, but it's because of you guys bringing in the information. We love talking with you guys. It's always a good time. Next week, I'm going to be on vacation, but I think Joe might come into the studio here by himself and hold it down.
I'm going to need you. I'm going to need your
along.
know-it-alls out
be
there.
Be here with him.
I'm going to need your support, because it'll be the first time, everybody, that I've had to go solo.
Yeah, and he's going to try to run the board himself here.
I might screw up everything.
See? Yeah, who knows?
I don't know, but it'll be interesting nonetheless.
But excellent. There he is. Joe's going to be here next week. I hope you guys enjoy it and come along, talk with him. And thanks for joining us tonight. And, hey, he'll see you next week. Thanks.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.